Well, what a week it has been. I'm not going to make light of anyone's murder. I don't care if they're in healthcare. But I will say this my heart goes out to Brian Thompson's family. That's a tragic loss for anyone. I don't care what industry the people are in. Okay, that being said, so we have a lot to get through. I'm going to go through some of the tweets again, like I did last time, and then I want to save some special time for going. I don't have any new answers for you. I don't make predictions on motive or who's behind it. I'm not into that. When I saw this assassination happen, this murder, my first thought is to go into collection mode, go into investigation mode. And that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through tonight. We'll go through the timelines, things like that, some light stuff. If you subscribe to my Substack, you can see it there on the banner below. I will be doing a full investigation on this. Now, what does that mean? I'm not a cop. I don't have any information that you don't have, but I am going to go through my normal process that I learned over 3 decades of doing this. Really, what happened, what we know, and what that looks like. I find that if you start trying to come up with theories before you start even collecting or analyzing, you'll be able to prove any theory you come up with. Okay, so I guess the point of tonight's show is stick with the facts, get organized in what you're doing. Yes, I know I'm very disorganized when it comes to setting up a stream, but get organized. And if you really want to look into this, it's not a bad idea. And I'll tell you why, because there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of hatred in this country right now. There's a lot of corruption in the current administration where they did try to assassinate a presidential candidate twice, if not 3 times. Okay, so I'm not saying any of us are big enough fish to warrant the attention of that administration, but you never know. And, the biggest thing is if people start thinking, okay, now we live in a world where you can assassinate someone because you don't like them or you're hired to do so, nothing will happen, that's a dangerous place to be. But remember, an investigation is the same no matter what you're doing. Okay, so if you're investigating a cheating spouse, if you're investigating a lost dog, if you're investigating a theft, a burglary, a murder, you're going to use the same steps. Okay, and those steps are simple, but you have to be diligent. And those steps are: first, collect everything you can, get all the evidence you can. Then sort that intelligence or information. Sort it by date time group. Sort it by source type. So at the end of the day, what you're going to have is after you collect. And these days you have to collect first. Don't even stop to read it. Just collect everything. Record your screen, whatever you have to do. A new tool that everyone likes, of course, is Wayback Machine. So the minute you see a news article, go ahead and index that on the Wayback Machine. If you don't know how to do that, I'm sure someone can show you. That way it'll preserve, but you still want to download that PDF. So collect and preserve, I guess I'll add, and get a big stack of intel. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to want to do is sort that intel. Sort it by date time group. I like to go, most present back. Some people go furthest back forward. This is really important, especially if you're doing your own investigation for anything. And if you plan on going to court with that, you're suing someone, you want to report your neighbor for constantly stealing your snowblower, who knows? You want a timeline because lawyers work in timelines. Okay, courts work in timelines. If you look at every major case in a court, it's done in a timeline format. So you want to do that. So it's important that you sort your intelligence that way. But you also want to sort your intelligence by source. Okay, so for instance, when I've done murder investigations for defense teams, because as a private investigator, obviously I was not doing murder investigations for the prosecution. It was always for defense teams defending the accused shooter or murderer. I've done a few of these, not a lot, but enough. It's involving work. Most of them take about a year. My first stack was primary. So what's a primary source in this case? That would be affidavits. In a defense case, when you're defending a murderer or a criminal, you're going to get access to those. The prosecution will turn those over to the defense team. And so you have to go through all of those. Some of you could be going through 1,000 pages, but you want to read every detail of that once you get it sorted. So sort those. Primary. I usually count witness statements as secondary, simply because eyewitness accounts are usually not reliable. People's memories change. People can get influenced by what they see on the news. It can pollute their memory. So don't put too much stock in eyewitness reports. And then there are, things like news reports, okay? News reports, I make a separate stack called news reports, okay? And then I don't even bother to sort them because they all get their news from news wires. So unless it's a citizen journalist who's down there on the scene doing their own reporting and not getting their news from a news wire, you just want to make a stack of industry media, whatever you want to call it. And then I do have a new category for citizen journalism. A lot of citizen journalists are doing a lot better, in my opinion, than the legacy media. You think of Project Veritas, then there's James O'Keefe, my friend Hernando Arce, Ben Berquam, when we're talking about border issues. These people are there on the scene constantly. They get their own special category, and it's more. I give them more priority than I do the legacy media. Now, why do I even look at the legacy media? Because I like to look at the way the timeline changes. Okay, so in this particular investigation, I'm collecting on what the legacy media is saying and what is changing in their story. Now, this is for everything I do. So, for instance, in a murder case, obviously the story is going to change as more evidence comes to light. That's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about, and we're going to talk about that tonight, is the angle that the legacy media is reporting it from. Now, I've caught a disturbing trend in the reporting of the murder of Brian Thompson, showing that, this could be a disgruntled person with the health industry, and it could. But I found this one report, I'll play it for you a little later, that she's like, yeah, and with vaccines being so controversial, there's a lot of concern in companies to improve their security. So there's that. So you get all your information in a stack, and then start reading. Read, and take notes. Okay? I do this probably 3 times. Everything I collect, I read at least 3 times. Why is that important? Because the more you read, you're going to see a pattern. You're going to start seeing things you missed the first time. You want to read for 45 minutes, take a break, do some push-ups or something, come back and do it. This is so important because as you're reading everything, you want to be writing your own prose. You want to be writing out your own version of events based on your sources. Okay, just write it. You go back and cite it later. And you'll see from your perspective based on primary, secondary, tertiary sources and legacy media, way down there at the end, you're going to see the story appear, and you're going to have those aha moments. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay, you're going to see things you didn't see before. Same thing goes with video. Record the videos, the best videos you can get. Thank God for Rumble and Twitter, or X now, because you can actually see more video before it's edited. And then you want to watch those videos over and over and over and over again too. Then you want to talk to experts, real experts. Okay, real experts. You want to talk to, someone who's really good at COVID-19 conspiracies or debunking a vaccine. They're not really going to know about security. Or they're not really going to know about stalking, surveillance. Talk to experts. Talk to people who've done it. It doesn't matter where they went to school, where they got their training. If they've done the work and they've done it well, they are an expert. But I've seen a lot this week of people who are not even in a related field acting like experts. That's not how to do an investigation. Those are not sources you even want to pay attention to. They don't matter. Okay, if you want to solve a case, you want to talk to experts. Experts in this case would be people who do building security, people who do stationary security, people that do event security, people that do executive protection. I myself have done executive protection quite a bit for major companies and CEOs and executives. You also want to talk to, if you can, you want to talk to people who are in risk insurance industry, meaning, like, for instance, there's something called travel risk insurance. These are the insurers of executives. So if an executive goes overseas, they get travel risk insurance. And then usually for the trip, or they have it full time. Okay, then you want to look at how companies are, in this case, how companies are insured, and what their insurance requires. So you're going to see some clips here that say, oh, they got to up security. Oh, he turned down his security. Guys, let me tell you something. I'll get into that later, but they don't have a choice. Executives don't have a choice. They can say, I hate security, but it doesn't matter. It's up to the company that insures those executives through the healthcare group, United Healthcare Group in this case. Brian Thompson wouldn't have that choice. He can't say, nah, I'm not going to take security, because that would invalidate their insurance for the corporation, for the company. So keep that in mind. And so those are experts, okay? And then what's the final process? So you write out your rough draft, you read it, does it make sense? Then you want to take that rough draft and you want to take it to someone who has done this a lot, okay? Someone who specializes in counter stalking or, executive protection, and say, hey, can you read this and tell me if it makes sense? And then that person's going to say, yes, it does, or yes, it does, but this. You want to listen to them. You got to put your ego aside. We all don't know everything. That's why we have sources. Makes sense, right? Okay. And then you write it out. But when you write it out, it's only in that final rough draft read that's when you want to come up with your hypothesis. I know it sounds backwards, but that's how to do an investigation. Okay, you've collected the evidence, you've analyzed it. Based on that, you think this is what happened. And you want to state it that way too. Okay, you want to state it that way. You never want to say, I think it was, an inside job because the stocks were under investigation. Well, does your report support that? If it doesn't, you just sound like an idiot. And there's a lot of idiots out there this week. And this happens every time. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying you guys who tune into a show called Investigate Everything probably like to investigate, feel the need to investigate, want to learn how to investigate. So I'll tell you right now, anyone throwing out theories on what they think it is, that's fine. That's good. You have a discussion, whatever. They're not sources. Okay, I don't care if they have a really good Substack and people like them. That's not a good source. Someone who says, I think it was this because of nothing. Okay, so just stick with the facts. My audience rocks. You guys are real investigators. I've seen some really good stuff come through from so many of you. Just stick with it, okay? Just ignore the people who are just out there trying to get a name for themselves, which is the whole reason I didn't even report on this until really last night on X. That's when I really started giving my thoughts, because I've been doing hours and hours and hours of research on this. Thanks for your donations to my my Gifts and Go, so I could take some time to do that. I really appreciate those donations. And by the way, on that note, for anyone who wants to help keep these things going, please, by all means, you see it on the scroller there. Go to Gifts and Go, investigate everything. What does that money do? That money allows me to buy court reports. That money allows me to travel. I want to get down to New York City and walk that path. And we're going to walk through it tonight on Google Maps. I kind of set that up for you. All right, so you've written your report. You're ready to go. Now what? Publish it. Publish it on Substack or wherever you publish. If you are an investigator, obviously you're going to give your report with the images separate to your lawyer. This is a lesson. If you ever want to be a PI, keep this in mind. As a private investigator, your written word doesn't really matter unless it's, I found this on this site. What you think doesn't matter. They care about your pictures. They care about your video. They care about your research, your hard, raw research. So keep that in mind. The pros you're writing in that case are just for your lawyers so they understand what they're looking at. So bear that in mind. It hurts a lot of feelings of private investigators, but it's true. I remember the first time I took the stand in a divorce case. I had these big report written up, and the lawyer's like, you need to separate that. They're just going to show the pictures. You explain what's on the picture. So keep that in mind. But for the general public, if you're acting as an investigative journalist type of capacity, which I'm doing, which you are probably doing, then you can do whatever you want, but just make sure everything's well sourced and easy to understand, and short sentences, timelines, all of that. And I'll give an example of that in my Substack, hopefully by Sunday. That's my goal. I'm trying to stick with my deadlines here. Okay, so there's that. The reason why I think it's important, again, in this case, is because it's a dangerous world. You can't really rely on the police to do a deep dive on really anything. There's good cops and bad cops. This is not an anti-cop thing. What I am saying is they just don't have the time, budget, or the training in a lot of cases. They just don't. Okay, they're taught to collect evidence, fill out an affidavit, and send it up the ladder. That's it. Okay, I've had cases where people have lost $500,000 worth of jewelry from a break-in. It was obvious it was the maids, and the police still didn't even really investigate it. People had to hire me on the sly because it's an ongoing investigation. They couldn't legally hire me. So it's important because you have to do your own investigations. That's the whole point of this show, is to teach people how to not only do their own investigations, but think like an investigator. If you do this enough, like really with the steps I've laid out, and I'll lay them out in more detail, probably in some pre-recorded videos, but if you do this all the time, you start piecing things together really quickly. I remember when I met my wife, Naomi Wolf. She's a great investigative journalist. She's a great author. But she was marveled at the fact that I could look at things and say, okay, it's this guy, this guy, this guy. Because I'm doing it all the time. It's not that I have any special gifts or powers. It's just that when you do something all the time, you do it faster and faster. It's kind of like piano. The more you play those scales, the faster you get. Same thing with everything. So, all right. Let's get into it. So before we get into Brian Thompson, let me check the comments section here. And I'm on StreamYard, so I may not see all of your... So I'm not even going to put this up, but I did get someone saying we need to ban assault weapons. You mean like that one? Yeah, I don't think so. All right. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's my Second Amendment right, so I don't think so, dude. All right, so there's that. Okay, so, and I don't mean to be rude, but this is not the time or the place. I find it rude to put your political views on a chat about something not even related. That's just lazy, and it's foolish. You should maybe write a Substack of your own or investigate me. All right, so there's that. Okay, so let me see here, heading over to... Okay, good. Okay, so here are the headlines I wanted to look at today. Let me go ahead and get Twitter up. And now the first one that I want to talk about, I was pissed when I saw this. There does seem to be it's almost like an attack on veterans, man. It's like they're trying to take away our benefits. I'm a disabled combat veteran, and I rely on those benefits. The benefits are more than just money. It's access to the hospitals, access to the doctors. And the service is getting worse and worse. And it's not the doctors at the VA's fault. They're great. It's because a lot of our resources have been sent to illegal aliens. Let me see if I could pull this up really quickly. I was trying to have everything ready, but unfortunately, you just have to go live when it's time to go live. So let me get this up for you. Okay, so what I saw this week was Natalie Winters had talked about The I think it was the Economist had put out a there we go. So the Economist had put out a headline. Let me show it to you here. Okay. Now, excuse my language. I was not happy with this. Okay, so they put out a headline that said this. Okay, and that was like 8-9 days ago. American veterans now receive absurdly generous benefits. An enormous rise in disability payments may complicate debt reduction efforts. My response, normally I don't read my own tweets, but I have to on this one. Hey, that's the Economist. That's their CEO, Laura Borro, and that is their editor-in-chief, Zanny MB. Basically, I told him where to go. And, the thing is, it's like you're going to cut benefits to disabled veterans. You're not getting benefits unless you're disabled. That's what they don't seem to understand. Unless you're disabled to some degree, you are not getting benefits unless you retire. They want to take those away, yet the same people are starting these forever wars everywhere. Okay, everywhere. Hello, Syria. And they're whining about Ukraine not having enough manpower, so obviously they want to send our troops there. Then they're whining about recruitment going down for the U.S. military, and then they're putting out stuff like this. Like, who the hell would want to join the military at this point? Seriously. I spent 11 years active duty. I would do it back then again. I'm not so sure if I would do that today, knowing what I know. Because, like, you want people to go fight and die for, in most cases, wars that didn't need to be fought, okay? And then you want to tell people when they get home, oh, too bad, so sad, good luck, with that one leg. I mean, this is just stupid. And it's clear, The Economist, a lot of that staff is overseas, they're not Americans, but they have veterans too. So this is just, I wanted to point that out. And then there's another one, let me stop sharing while I pull it up, that Naomi just sent me tonight that really got under my skin as well, because it does seem like that there's an attack on veterans. And, look, I think what that is a lot of people who write, I'll tell you what that is. So you take The Economist, The Guardian, that sort of thing. A lot of those people probably have never met a veteran. They probably never met someone who served in the military. It's very likely. So to them, it's something no one really cares about. Hey, if we do away with these benefits, no one will really care. Well, that's BS, because the rest of the country, 80% of the country, definitely knows someone who served in the military or is serving in the military. And keep in mind, those benefits not only benefit the disabled veteran, but also their families. Okay, also their families. If a veteran gets really messed up, they are processed out of the military and they receive disability benefits to make up for that loss of income. In a lot of cases, there's a parent home raising the kids. And so there's beneficiary benefits that go along with those. But that's how they're able to support themselves. And it's also a benefit. It's a contract. Actually, a friend of mine mentioned this the other day. It's a contract that when you go in, this is contractual. It's not like you could just break it. It's not like they're giving us a gift. Anyways, I could go on all day about that, but just keep an eye on that. And good resource for that is go to your local VFW or your local American Legion Hall, meet some veterans. And a lot of these guys are really tuned into what's going on. Or if you're a citizen journalist, go up to the VA and ask them, hey, can I do an interview? I'd love to find out more about this. They'd be happy to tell you because it puts their jobs in jeopardy. And I know some good doctors up there. My uncle by marriage left his cardiology private practice and he works at a VA because he just wanted to do something more meaningful. That really meant a lot to me. And, the fact that they would cut something that so many Americans need, millions upon millions, tens of millions of Americans need this. And it also is something that keeps people joining the military, is because America has a reputation of taking care of their veterans. So to The Economist, from me, and I would imagine most disabled veterans, just take that finger in the middle. Okay, and you know what you could do with this. So, all right, that aside. So yeah, Naomi sent me this tweet today earlier. I don't know if I can pull it up right now. But it was about more targeting of VA benefits. Okay, more targeting of this. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I can just read it to you. And by the way, happy Friday night, everyone. Can't believe the week's flown by so quickly. All right. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Okay, it's on the Wall Street Apes. Let me get it up for you. Okay. Wall Street Apes at 7 latest. Here we go. All right. And I like the Wall Street Apes. They have some good info. They've done some good things. It's just packed with info. Let me pull this up. FEMA. Okay. And, all right, if I don't find it soon, I'll just read it to you. Okay, well, there it is. Okay. All right, so while the VA is sending American veterans information, oh yeah, this is shocking. And look at the way, okay, so basically what this says is if you're, according to this post and Senator Kennedy, if you're a veteran and you tell Veterans Affairs that you're having financial issues, which you'll be doing if they take away your benefits, then according to this post and Senator Kennedy, then they automatically take away your gun. So let me read this and then I'll play the video because I don't really understand it. The VA is sending American veterans information to the FBI to have their firearms taken away. Senator John Kennedy, under current VA policy, if a veteran who defended his country has to go to the VA and ask for help managing his or her financial affairs, the VA automatically reports that veteran to the FBI's National Instant Criminal Background Check System. We call it NICS. And that veteran loses his firearm or firearms. He loses his firearms automatically. No due process, no questions asked. This decision has not been made by a judge. It was made by a bureaucrat. Our amendment would do would be able to say the VA, just because you've asked for help with your money, cannot automatically take away your firearms and report you to the NCIS. Let's just listen to the man
He
himself.
loses his firearm automatically. No due process. No questions asked. This decision has not been made by a judge. It's being made by a bureaucrat. All our amendment would do would be to say the VA, just because you've asked for help with your money, cannot automatically take away your firearm or report you to NICS. Get this. Under current VA policy, if a veteran who defended this country has to go to the VA and ask for help managing his or her financial affairs, the VA automatically reports that veteran to the FBI's National Instant Criminal Background Check System. We call it NICS. And that veteran loses his firearm. He loses his firearm automatically. No due process.
Shocking. Now, I have not looked into that yet. I will say that I was shocked when I heard that. And it could be coincidence, but isn't it interesting that you have The Economist, which is really just the rag of the globalists. That's just, the WTO's, and so is the Financial Times, the WTO's Genoa, if you will. And they put out this thing trying to cut veterans' benefits, and then we hear this. I don't know if that's old or new, but it's shocking. And to Kennedy's credit, regardless of what he's voted for, all that, I take people at what they're fighting for now. To his credit, he also he's really good at catching these, or his staff is good at catching these little go-arounds that the Biden administration has played. For example, back in 2020, what they were doing was FEMA was going around Congress and raising the requirements for flood insurance. Now, who does flood insurance affect the most? Yeah, it affects some people in the Hamptons, but they can afford it. But it really affects, this report, it affected a lot of people in the Southeast United States, one of the poorer parts of the country. Well, it's a great way to get people off their homes. See, like if your mortgage is paid off and you're just getting by, and then all of a sudden your flood insurance goes through the roof, it's a great way to chase people out of their homes. We've seen it in so many neighborhoods. Okay, he's really good at catching that. It's almost like there's two things going on here. They want to defang veterans, okay? They want to defang them and take away their guns. They also want to break their spirit and make them basically non-persons by taking away their benefits. Or force them to sign up for like a state-run, I guess, healthcare, where they'd be forced to take vaccines if they want healthcare. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but whatever it is, this attack on veterans just reminds me of the same attack on active duty with the vaccine mandates, where they had so many that were people that left, friends of mine, who wouldn't get the jab, and they were kicked out of the military. So what does that mean? It does mean that whoever is trying to weaken our military. It's very obvious to me. Trying to weaken our military. This is a great example of it, because remember, when people get out of the military, especially if they own firearms, they're trained how to use them. Now, I'm not saying everyone who was in the military is some super duper marksman or trained professional killer. What I am saying is they have a basic level of marksmanship that most people don't have. And the U.S. military is some of the best marksmanship training in the world for everyone in basic training. And it's very good. And I would know. I was a range safety. I spent a lot of time on ranges. It's very good. And I've shot in my spare time with a gentleman who was in the Israeli Defense Forces. And he even said, wow, you guys are really well trained. Granted, I was in special forces units, so I went to ranges all the time, not like the regular military. But I will say, you take that training, you take the number of veterans that are in this country times the number of guns that are in this country, that's got to be terrifying to any of our enemies who have any designs on attacking this country. Because once you get through the armed forces, you still got to get through the very heavily armed civilian population, a lot of whom are trained. Again, just spitballing, but that's one of those things. Yeah, I know it sounds hypocritical. I'm not investigating this, so I can throw out all the theories I want. Okay, so next one. Oh, really quickly, I got to talk about this. I'm really excited. One of our sponsors is Native Path. Okay, so here we go. Got the scroller on the bottom. Okay, but Native Path sent me a ton of stuff, and I'm pretty pumped about it. Let me show you. So let me just read what I wrote down about them. So I didn't know this, but most people, staying hydrated is a real issue, even if you're not out working. I myself find, like, did I drink water today? And that's bad. 75% of all Americans do not consume enough fluid daily. That's terrifying. Our bodies are almost all made of fluid. As we age, natural bodily changes make staying hydrated even harder. That is true, especially if you're an Irishman like me, especially without artificial additives and excessive sugars, that's for sure. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free, 100% natural. With their Native Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of like 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium for optimal daily hydration. Free of artificial flavors, sugars, and dyes. It only has 5 calories. It also has very little carbs. I know a lot of you, like me, think about that. And every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com, nativehydrate.com, got to change that scroller, /daily clout. So that is, put it up on the screen for you. So, and you can still go to getnativepath.com /daily clout for their other products. But I'm so glad that they're making this, bringing attention to Native Hydrate, because anyone who watches this show knows that I love the Hydrate products. And I was out of the Hydrate products, and I see this big box show up from Native Path, and let me just get that up. And it was like Christmas morning. This just came in, I think, today. And then let me see your daily cloud. Sorry, guys, I'm getting this up on the screen. Okay. Add banner. There we go. There you go. Nativehydrate.com /daily cloud. Check this out. We've got the Native Hydrate Tangerine. Let me read these stats to you on the back. Yeah, it's 1 gram of carbs. That's awesome to me. Sold. Boom. Okay. Here's the ingredients are really, there's so few, they're hard to find, which is good. Let me see. Citric acid, natural flavors, stevia, beta carotene for color. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's natural tangerine flavors. I already said that. And I just got this, so, I haven't even read for this flavor. Got the berry flavor. But yeah, it's got tons of, I don't know if you can see that, but just go to the site, and this stuff's awesome. This stuff is awesome. I always have this around. They hate it when I say this, but if I have like too many eggnogs, and I wake up in the morning feeling a little hungover, boom, it's awesome. And they also sent us the variety pack. You could get all these too. They're with that discount. This is nice because I could put it in my bike, keep a few of these in my car, or in the suitcase when we go on a trip, so I don't have to carry around the thing. And don't forget, on the Get Native Path website, get your collagen. I tried something new this weekend. I actually made eggnog, and I put collagen in it. It was great. You don't taste it. That's the thing. It doesn't clump. You don't taste it. There's no flavor. Collagen is really important for your hair, your nails, your flexibility, especially as you get older. And people trust me. I'm 50, just turned 50 in April. I don't feel 50, but I will say this. I felt the difference between 50 and 49 almost overnight. It was wacky. And I doubled up on my collagen. Get your collagen. It's awesome. And, oh yeah, there's one more. And as you all know, I also have trouble with sleep, and this little envelope came in there. It said, "Better Sleep is here" from Native Path. I'm really pumped about this. It is a collagen PM formula. I'm going to try this out tonight, see how it works. I'll let you know, okay? I'm also signed up for the Get Native Path Challenge. I'm starting that in January, so I don't know what that involves. But I think I gotta start taking it religiously and tracking my progress. So I take it a lot, so I'm not sure if it's gonna really show much, but I'll see what that involves. But I'll keep you posted. I'll do separate videos for that. But yeah, if you want to join me in the fun, go to nativehydrate.com, also to getnativepath.com /daily cloud on both of those. Get your discount, and it also helps keep a show like this free. All right, so that's our sponsor, Get Native Path. I'm pretty pumped about that. It's nice when you get gifts like that, and they're a wonderful sponsor, wonderful company. And we've had their CEO on with Naomi Wolf a few times. He's pretty awesome. All right, so there you have that. Okay, so back to the show. going to do a couple more headlines. It is 8:13, and I don't want to keep you too long because I know you guys want me to get into the Brian Thompson thing. What else do we have on Twitter? And by the way, if you're in the chat right now, I'm only seeing X and... Okay, I'm seeing X and I'm seeing Rumble, and I saw one activist from... Okay, so Anastasiosis contra Furus Calimara. Hopefully he speaks Greek. I speak just a little. See if he knows this one. That means, do you want something to eat? I memorized that. My kid is Greek. All right, so let me see what he's got here. I'm going to just go over to this, and hopefully I could get to it. But yeah, and this I was just about to ask, by the way. Like, I'm glad he did this, because I was going to ask you to send me what you want to see. So, and Stacy. And by the way, if you have tweets that you want me to see, you can actually DM them to me. If you have trouble DMing to me, you can put them up in the chat. I'll try to grab them. I just have to kind of retype them because it doesn't let me cut and paste. There he is. Okay, got him. All right. I'm not sure which tweet he wants me to see. Anastasiosis, if you could put an image of the tweet or put the tweet title, that'd be really helpful, because all I can see is the tweet status and I can't click on it from where I'm at. I do want to see your tweet. I just want to make sure I get the right one up. I think, let me just check this one here. But yeah, if you could just put the name of the tweet, or yeah, if you could just maybe just write out a message, just saying the first few words of the tweet, that'd be helpful. Let me check my DMs here. Yeah, because I can't tell which tweet that is, just based on that. Because I just oh wait, I think I got it. Do I have it? Hold on. Oh yeah, I just happened to land on it. So let me see what this is, and let's see what's going on. Okay, so this is about Greece. I am very interested in Greece. My son is always bringing these things to me. This is about the Ministry of Greek Tourism bill has been put into consultation. Let me put it up for you. But if you could give me some context, Anastasios, I'm happy to talk through that. I have been following a lot of what's going on in Greece. I just don't understand the context of this tweet. So I'll do my best to contextualize it. Okay, so it says here, the new Ministry of Tourism bill has put into consultation the draft law. The draft law is a continuation of the ministry's previous legislative initiatives. The new bill is part of the overall strategy for qualitative development of Greek tourism. The new legislation regulations respond to modern challenges and ensure. Okay, so just, yeah, if you would, Anastasios, everything's important. Just give me a little context. All right, but thank you for sharing it. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, and then in other tweets, I sound like out of it. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I think it's just been a long week. I was running around in the snow today with the dog, and that always makes me a little bit tired, I guess. But I really wanted to do this. I should do this in the morning because it really pumps me up to talk to you guys. Okay, so others that I had tagged here. Let me get to those. Okay. Oh, yeah, this one was interesting. So this is from Robert the Builder. Let me put it up. This is really interesting. Listen to this. For those of you following the Hunter Biden story.
Joe pardoning Hunter. And the wrinkle that nobody has picked up on yet, not a single person I've listened to on the radio or anything else has picked up on this. I am a lawyer, not your lawyer. So what Joe has issued is a blanket pardon. Basically, he's given Hunter Biden immunity for everything that started when he joined Burisma 10 years ago up until now. It sounds great for Hunter, right? It sounds great for Joe because Joe is the person that Hunter would be testifying against if they made some kind of a deal, right? But do you understand how the Fifth Amendment works? If they give Hunter blanket immunity, which they have. Joe did this. Oh, he lied about it in June. He said he would never do it in a million years, and then he did it. What a good dad. He's doing it to protect himself because he doesn't want Hunter testifying against the Biden crime family. However, this is where he fouled up. Joe, you got to listen to your lawyers because I know one of your lawyers was bound to have been smart enough to figure this out, and if they did, you need to hire new ones. I worked a case one time where they granted immunity in order to extract testimony from the person talking who was involved with my client. Here's how it works. If you've been granted immunity, the Fifth Amendment no longer applies. You cannot incriminate yourself when you've been granted blanket immunity over everything you did from ant to ant. Therefore, Hunter Biden can now be forced to testify against the big guy. And this is what everybody is missing. And this is where Joe totally screwed the pooch legally on this, is the immunity gets rid of that Fifth Amendment. So now when they ask Hunter Biden, they put him on the stand, if they do, and they ask, how much money did you launder through Ukraine to your dad? And he says, I'm taking the Fifth. The judge can compel him to testify because he is immune from prosecution on that. And if he still refuses to testify, he can hold him in contempt and he can put him in jail until which point he decides to testify. Good one, Joe, proving you're still a complete idiot.
I love it. That's great commentary, and I love, I'm so glad that guy follows me. I follow him back. You can learn so much from good lawyers like that, and that's really interesting. And the reason why it's important for you to see tweets like that is to pressure all those congressmen that are worried about the midterms to, pursue things like that, to make sure, or take that tweet and make sure that they see it. Okay, don't just tweet it to them, email it to them. That's really important information. I reached out to Mike Davis. Hopefully he'll comment on that. He's article3project.org. Check him out sometime too. He's without a doubt the terminator of lawyers on the Trump team. Okay, so we are going to take a quick break. Before we do, I'm going to just put on the timeline video. I'm going to actually put on a different video. I'm going to put on a video for you, and we'll talk about that video. We're going to get into the Brian Thompson thing right now after this quick break because I need to load up these videos for you. So here we go. This is the shooting and the first reports of it. So let's go ahead and put that on. It's just a newscast, but I'm going to put it on just so I can set up some other things for you, and we're going to talk about it.
Good Day, New York, first on the scene. We saw as officers attempted to give this man CPR, those desperate moments. But again, this victim, the man who was shot in the chest, has died. This all happened about 6:45 in the morning outside of the Hilton Hotel right off 6th Avenue. The suspect described as a 6-foot-tall man with a slim build, possibly wearing a cream-colored jacket, black gloves. He took off northbound on 6th Avenue. People who witnessed this situation, there were actually 2 or 3 people who saw it. They said that it appeared that this suspect was waiting for hours, maybe overnight, outside of the Hilton, possibly targeting this victim. It's unclear potentially how these two know each other.
Okay, so I got it. Hats off, by the way, to the New York Post. They've done a great job. Great job. The way they're reporting on this, they are reporting on it like investigators, and I really appreciate them for that. Okay, so let's get down to it. Let's look at what we have. We have December 4th. We have according to their timeline, and they have very good sources in the police. According to their timeline, they have the suspect leaving. Actually, let me get to that. We'll start that now. They have the suspect leaving. I think the way they put it here. Let's just put that back up here. Okay, kill the sound. Okay. All right, so around 5 a.m., they have the suspect leaving the Frederick Douglass houses, public housing project on the Upper West Side. Well, I don't think he was in the public housing, actually. So let me just set this up for you guys. All right. There we go. I'm going to share this tab. Good. Okay. So I mapped out his whole path here. And let me just move that to my other screen here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Here's the Frederick Douglass housing project. Okay, you can find they've got a website that's low-income housing. Well, later on, you see that they talked about how he left this hostel. Okay, let's zoom in on that. Okay, and this is the AY hostel that he supposedly stayed at. So he leaves the hostel. My guess is that he left the hostel on a bicycle. Okay, and I mapped it. It's about 47 minutes to get to where he was going. So if he left at 5 a.m., takes a bike, heads down here, goes through Central Park at 96th Street. I'm guessing, I don't know this. Probably went through Central Park. It would make sense. You can see there it's 46 minutes, 7.5 miles. A lot of people bike in New York City. I used to live in New York City. We have a place in Brooklyn. It's the way to get around because traffic just sucks all the time, even in the morning. So it makes sense he'd take a bike. Plus, he doesn't want to take an Uber, obviously. So my guess is he came this way, worked his way down. Okay, and then his next stop. Okay, I got this a little screwed up here, but that's okay. His next stop would have been here at the Starbucks. So he probably came here. My guess is that he probably went over here to the Starbucks. Now, if he came down this way, which is likely too, he would have seen the Starbucks and stopped. Okay, so he stopped at the Starbucks at 6:17, according to the New York Post and other police reports that we've seen. Stops at the Starbucks, apparently gets a few bottles of water. All right. At 6:30, suspect is seen. He's seen lingering around. Let me get that back up here. Make sure. Okay, so he's at 6:17 at that Starbucks I just showed you. Okay, then at 6:30. Okay, this is important. He's seen on the phone. All right, at 6:30, he's walking. To me, as a guy that knows New York, that looks like he's on where that cell phone was taken. That does look to me like he's on 6th Avenue just because of the wideness of the streets. You could see that in the video there. Very, it's like 6-lane streets. Okay. You see you got go back to the map. Okay, and you got your 6 lanes here. Okay. And he's walking on, I believe, just get that back. It doesn't really matter which side he's walking on. Okay. So then he's seen at 6:30 on a cell phone. That's important. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. At 6:40, he gets to about this area. Okay. Where he lingers. Now let me pull up my other map that I prepared for you. Okay. And here he is lingering. Okay. So you go here. This is the Hilton here. And he's lingering right. They say he's lingering right about here. We're going to get to that in a second. Let me go back here. Sorry. Okay. So he gets on with his cell phone call. Here's the entrance to the Hilton. and he's clearly lingering probably right where this SUV is. Probably right there. Okay. You see when let me get back to let me just show you that video again. Okay. Walks past the entrance. He steps out from behind an SUV. Takes a shot. Okay. So he would have been stepping out probably more likely where that truck is right there, where this delivery truck is. Steps out. He gets Brian Thompson right about where this guy is here in this Google Map image, who strangely, I'm not saying he is, who strangely kind of looks like Brian Thompson, same suit and everything. I doubt it is. It's a map from August 24th. But that did catch my eye. I was like, damn, that looks exact same suit and everything. So Brian Thompson walks by. He is lingering here, and he pops out. Okay. Problem with that is, obviously he was lingering. We saw it. And then Brian Thompson went down right about there. Okay. Here's the problem with that is if you know New York, okay, if you know New York, you know that if you're lingering behind any of these private drivers. These guys wait outside the hotels, and these are private drivers. These are normally not Uber drivers. Before Uber, it was very common to get a private driver instead of a taxi. It wasn't that much more money. These guys still own their own SUVs, operate them, and they usually have a nice deal with the doormen and stuff at these tourist hotels. But if you're lingering behind one of these guys' SUVs, they're going to say something to you. They're not going to let you just hang out there. But we also know that he couldn't have been lingering long because maybe a few minutes. So maybe the SUV driver didn't see him. Now, that's 6:40, okay? Now, another problem with the timeline that I have, and that's okay. It's not a big deal, but I'll just explain this to you in a second. So, all right, so we have 6:40, suspect lingers. Okay, and then 6:44, Brian Thompson leaves the Marriott. At 6:44, he leaves the Marriott where he was staying and walks towards the entrance of the Hilton. We'll get to that in a second. This guy comes out 6:45, takes him out. Okay. And then he flees. We'll get to that in a second. Well, I got another map for you. So here we go. Okay, so let me go back here. So this is what I also mapped out was the nearest Marriott that I could find. I could be wrong, but the nearest Marriott is a few blocks away. Okay, and it's up here on off of Broadway. Now, it's only a 13-minute walk, and most people, when they're that close, they do walk. So he walks. Okay, and then, but it's still like a 13-minute walk. But that's okay. That's early reporting, so I'm not going to really focus on that too much. So let me show you the path Brian Thompson would have walked. Okay, so he would have walked down this way. And again, I don't have answers. What we're doing tonight is we're just going through the evidence with a fine-tooth comb, the evidence that we have. So Brian Thompson, whoops. Let me go back to Street View. Sorry about that. I love this little dangly guy that yeah. Okay. So let's do this again. Okay, so Brian Thompson would have walked this way. And here's that entrance. All right. So that's 13 minutes. He didn't get there in 1 minute, even if he took a car, even if he took a bike. If If he took a car, he'd get there in 23 minutes. Take him longer. Okay. Now, what I want you to pay attention to, this is the part that I'm surprised no one's really talked about, is let's look at that video again. And again, we're just going through the evidence. Okay, I'm not saying this means something, but it means something. But see if you get this. See if you see it. Walking, that's the entrance right there. Okay? That's the entrance. He looks at the entrance, but he doesn't go in. Looks at the entrance, doesn't go in. He's going somewhere else. Where else could he be going? I don't know. I do have something I'm gonna read to you that someone sent me on Twitter, someone I know. Okay. But the Hilton's right here. Okay. And for some reason he doesn't go in. He doesn't even look like he has any intent of going in. It looks like he's heading to a meeting somewhere else. There's something else to pay attention to. And again, I don't know what it means, but pay attention to this because no one's really talked about this. I don't know if you see it on this. No, you can't see it on this video. Okay, but right here, this, God, I wish I had a cursor or something here. So you see the lights on that SUV. Okay, those lights came on right as Brian Thompson walks into view. Someone presses their brake lights. Now watch, this SUV doesn't leave though. So they went on right before that frame. Right before that frame. Thompson, is shot multiple times. The guy doesn't leave. The SUV guy doesn't leave. And then you're going to watch the shooter kind of cross right in front of that same SUV. And you see the SUV has his blinker on like he's getting ready to leave. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, and again, what's this mean? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what I think it means based on my experience and what I've looked at. So you have an SUV sitting there at 6:44 in the morning. For some reason, it either turns itself on or the guy, usually they're idling because it's cold. He steps on his brakes right as Brian Thompson comes into view. Then the shooter comes out and shoots him. So when I was doing surveillance, and so I ran a PI firm for a long time, and we did thousands of hours of surveillance. The way we would mark the target, okay, and our target, obviously, we're not assassinating them, but the way we would mark the target is usually by stepping on the brake lights in a situation like this. So if I were doing surveillance, I'd usually have one other guy if it was a big job, one just me if it was a small job. So if I was sitting in the car and I'm spotting, okay, I'm spotting because I have a cameraman ready to go, okay, and that cameraman doesn't need to be there all night, but I need to be there all night. Because you never know where someone's going to appear. You just don't have that kind of intel unless you have a tracker on the person. So normally surveillance to get this close to a target, you're usually doing hours and hours of surveillance. Or if you know he's going to be at a certain spot or you think he's going to be at a certain spot, you'll usually set up there a couple hours ahead of time. Okay, I would use Uber drivers. I'd sit there and I'd say, just wait here, or I'd use taxis. In New York, or I'd use my own vehicle. And then I'd have, like in one case, I have my brother on the street and our target is walking. And I see him, I'm like, okay, and I want to make sure my brother sees him. So our signal was to step on the brakes. There's the target, make sure you get footage, follow him. Okay, follow him. You also always have someone on foot and always in a vehicle. So it'd be coincidence, but it's just strange at that hour in the morning that this SUV decides to step on his brake lights. And it's not until Brian Thompson is shot and thoroughly shot that the SUV turns on its headlights and its blinker. And now it's time to leave. Okay. He goes to pull out, but the shooter steps in front of him, runs across the street. Okay, why is that weird? Well, that SUV didn't pick up a passenger. Okay, he was sitting there for a while. Maybe the passenger was inside. Possible. Okay, but you didn't see anyone get into the SUV. So it's not like his passenger got in the SUV as long as we can see, and then he's ready to go. No, he steps on the brakes right when Brian Thompson comes into view. He puts it in drive. You could see that. After Thompson goes down, and then the blinker goes on, he's ready to get the hell out of there. Probably because, and look, if it's innocent, then he's getting out of there because he just saw a guy go down. But that's when he decides to go. And then Brian Thompson runs in front. We still haven't seen any dash cam footage from this SUV. Now, granted, it's an ongoing investigation, yada, yada. But the thing is, we still haven't seen it. That guy ran right in front of that SUV. They know whose SUV that is. There's so many cameras at this Hilton. Let me show you. Okay, let me put the map back up here. Okay, so here is the Hilton. All right. If you go back here, that SUV would have been right here. Lots of cameras. Lots of cameras. Not only that, doormen. Okay, always doormen. Always doormen in New York. Always, always, always. They actually have a union. Lots of cameras. Also, the only camera images we're seeing, if you notice, is we're seeing this one and this one. Okay, this is the one that everyone's showing this angle here, and then this is a couple of news stations have shown this one. We haven't seen footage from this one at all. Okay. But again, plenty of cameras there, and there's also tons of cameras in this area. Okay, tons of cameras in this area. Right there, there's a camera. No, sorry, that's not a camera. That's a camera. That's a camera. That's a camera. I mean, New York, this Midtown area, there's so many cameras. Okay, there's so many cameras. There's cameras everywhere. A lot of those cameras came about after 9/11. See something, say something. I'm sure some of you remember that. Okay, there's tons of cameras. Okay, there's cameras all along the street. Okay, there's one right there. Okay, oh, look at that. There's one right there. And I always look for the cameras because every time I did a murder case, I always want every ATM camera. There's a camera right there. Okay. There's lots of cameras on this road. Tons of them. Okay, but we're only seeing that footage. They only want us to see that footage. That's important. In my opinion, that's important. For some reason, they're only showing that. So if it's an ongoing investigation, why'd the police even release that? And why'd they release the guy's face in that other, the latest reporting? I don't know. But keep that in mind. Write that down. Why do we have at least, I mean, I could go through and count them, but I could count easily 1, 2, 3. All of these light poles will have cameras. We saw the guy run over here. That's actually a camera. That's a light. That's a camera. Okay. Another camera. There's so many cameras. Okay. So why show us any footage? You know what I mean? Why not just show us a still or something? For some reason, they're showing us that footage. I don't know why. Okay. Also, here, yeah, again, I mean, I could do this all day. I bet, if you went down there and counted them, and I will, there must be 20, 30 cameras on that road alone, on that little stretch. Okay, but we're only seeing one angle. If we didn't see any, that makes sense. It's an ongoing investigation. But why are they showing us select footage? I always have to question that. Okay, I'm not jumping to any conclusions, but you got to question that. Okay. Now, let's go back to the map, all right? So here, we're on the map, sorry. Okay, so he does that. We're going to actually switch to the other map. Okay, so Let's go down to the street. All right, so the shooting occurs here. The shooter looks like he ran this way, probably ran through. This is a throughway right here. There's a lot of that in New York. They're not really alleys. They're kind of like these wide, like pavilion type things. This looks like an alley. I've been up there many times. The Hilton's kind of a crappy hotel for New York, but hey. So it looks like he went this way. The shooter went this way, and this way. Okay, now right around here is, I'm guessing, where his bike was. Okay, and it looks like a city bike to me. Thing about the city bikes, the reason why they're so fast is they're electric, so they're pedal assist. So his bike must have been around here. So let's go down the street view here. And let's look at some cameras. Okay, so here. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, if you haven't been to New York in like the last 10 years, it's always under construction. So that's what you're seeing here. So here's a Starbucks. Okay, so we got the footage from inside the Starbucks. And I'm not going to look for the cameras right now, but I think I just saw one. No, I didn't. But again, there's lots of cameras all over here. Anyone that lives in New York will, agree with me. There's always cameras. They have cameras under these eaves, these little construction like hoods, whatever you want to call them. And Starbucks has lots of cameras. Okay, and the reason why, and there's even more cameras now, is because ever since 2020, like the BLM riots and all that. Oh yeah, camera. There's gonna be a camera right there on that parking garage. Where he put his bike, I don't know. I don't know if he got a new bike. I'm sure there's a city bike thing here somewhere, but yeah, there's a city bike thing right there. So he may have even parked his other city bike here and picked up a new city bike. Now, granted, this kid had a fake ID, probably had a cash credit card or a fake credit card, who knows. But there's a bank right here. Okay, what do banks have? Lots of freaking cameras. Okay, amazingly, I don't really see that many cameras. It's the first time I'm looking at this particular one. But again, there's a camera. And by the way, at this time of the day, this guy wouldn't be here. This guy wouldn't be here. Okay, they don't usually set up till about 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, because not a lot of people are buying hot dogs at that time. Okay, but what you do have, there's a camera. Okay, so you have a camera pointing in the street right there. So they would have seen him coming back. And there's just so many cameras. But you have a city bike thing here. So he probably stashed his city bike here and then took another one. That's my guess. Because city bikes, that is clearly a city bike. Let me show you the video again. Let's take a good look at these. They're very distinct. And again, they're fast. They're a lot of fun. I mean, if you're ever in New York City, forget about taxis. Take a bike. It's so much fun. But let me show you here. Let me pull the video back up.
The chest has died. People who witnessed.
If I can find it again. Sorry, guys. It might be on the... Yeah, here we go. Okay. Clearly a city bike. I don't think anyone's denying that. You can see the style of the bike, the seat here, the white trim. It's pretty distinct, and there's more. So I think we can take it to the bank and put that in our fact column that it's a city bike. Okay, so you have a city bike here. Okay, right at the same Starbucks he went to. So goes to Starbucks, grabs a new city bike, and continues. So goes to Starbucks, ditches his city bike that he got there with, goes down, makes his shot. Comes back, probably went to the same Starbucks because he knows there's a city bike there. Okay, grabs one, and then he takes it, according to the timeline, takes it down to Central Park. Zoom out so you guys get a feeling for this. takes it back to Central Park. And again, I know it's getting old, but just so you know, you got the Ritz-Carlton down there. There's so many cameras on the Ritz-Carlton. You see them there, there, and there. Like literally every corner of the Ritz-Carlton has cameras. A lot of big meetings go on there. Some meetings would blow your mind. And then usually in New York, pretty much all of these traffic cams are like active. That I believe is, that's camera right there. Okay, so he comes down here and goes right into Central Park. Okay, he's going to go right down there. Okay, and there's even cameras in Central Park. Okay, just keep that in mind. It's not like a vast wilderness. It's just lots of cameras. Okay. So I want to see that footage. Like, I want to see all of it. I know they're doing an investigation. I don't know how well they're doing it. I don't know if they want to do it. I have no reason to believe they wouldn't want to do it. But like I said, camera's right there. So they've got a camera of him going here. That's probably where they got the camera shot. And look, I get it. Police are conducting an investigation. They don't want to share everything because, there's a lot of idiots out there that can mess up an investigation. But at the same time, why show us any footage is my biggest question. Why show us any? Okay, so this is where he went back to. And again, this guy's on so many cameras. See these here? Okay. All right, so the timeline continues. Then they said here that unfortunately, they said at about 7 a.m. Okay, so he's biking. Let me get that time. Rides north. Gets 59th Street. That's the thing I was just showing you. Just before 7 a.m., seeing footage that he's on 85th Street. I'm not really buying that timeline because 6:44, 10 minutes. I mean, that's some hardcore peddling. So let's just make sure I got that time right. Okay. Okay. Between 6:45, 6:48. So 6:45, we know that he was shot. Okay, that there takes about 3 minutes. So that puts you about 6:48. And just before 7 a.m., so 12 a.m., 12 minutes, he makes it to 89th Street, I think 85th Street. Okay, so back to the map. Okay, so here, if I go to the steps of the map here, okay, so it's 46 minutes so the round trip is 46 minutes. So let me see if I cut out Frederick Douglass and I cut out Starbucks. So that's 22 minutes. Let me just get this one here. That's the statue at the beginning of Central Park. That's why I left that there. All right, so 54th Street to his hostel would take him 22 minutes. They got him doing it in 12. Is it possible? Yeah, I guess it's possible. I mean, they're electric bikes. He looks like he's in good shape. Okay, just so you know, this Frederick Douglass housing complex is Section 8 type housing. I think he just cut through near there, and that's why it ended up in the report. People probably saw him emerge. And by people, I mean the police. Okay, that's the source. That's the only people that would know, their way around like this. And the Frederick Douglass thing is right here. That's this low-income housing here. This area, roughly. And then really on the same block over here, this is the hostel that the suspect supposedly stayed at. And guess what's there? You ready for this? Not shocking news, but what's right outside the hostel? Oh, it's another city bike. Okay, so you're not getting a city bike without some identification, even fake identification. And look what we have here. Camera right near the city bike. Okay. So again, there's a lot. If they're not catching this guy, they don't want to, or they're totally inept, but there's so much footage of this guy. Okay. He clearly went back to this thing. Okay. And I think he took the bike to get down to the shooting site because it's 22 minutes by car, 46 minutes by bike. Actually, 46 minutes round trip. I believe it's like maybe like 22, 30 minutes. Would we say 22 minutes, I think, by bike. Okay, so the other thing, so that's the map. Let me just kind of summarize that for you. Okay. And, all right. So basically gets on a city bike, comes down, goes through Central Park, right about here, comes down, does his hit, runs back through the alley, okay, gets to his Starbucks where he knows there's a city bike thing, gets on the city bike, gets back into Central Park, pedals his ass off, not all that way, gets himself back to the hostel. Maybe, usually I don't know how Google determines how fast it takes, but disregard that. I just dragged my mouse stupidly, so added a few minutes. But here, I guess it's possible he'd be there around that time. It's certainly possible. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so what are the questions you want to ask is, okay, what happened after this? Where'd he go? Okay, my guess is that he gets back here, parks the city back, hops on the MTA, and he's out of there. He's either getting to EWR or Newark, an airport. He's going somewhere, but he's getting out of the city for sure. He's not going around Central Park. He used Central Park to get through. And my guess is that he, probably took the MTA, could have gone to Grand Central Station. Grand Central Station will take you onto, the path. There's so many trains, it'll take you out of the city. So it could have been anything. That's beside the point. Okay, now let's look at the video. Actually, let's take a quick break before we look at more video, because there's some things I want to talk about with the video. I don't know why my face is showing up so red, by the way. I don't have red light here, so and I don't have a red face. It's strange. All right, let's look at some comments. What do we got here? Who's Brian Thompson? Come on, man. Okay, so taking some comments. Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you, Dawn CB, and welcome. Oh my God, I just bought the native supplement. I've been looking for those ingredients, a low carb count, and those amounts. Thanks, Brian and Naomi. Well, thanks, Native Path, but you're welcome. I really like Native Path. I literally, okay, Dawn, I'm going to do this for you. I have a Native Path eggnog recipe. It's going to be kind of gross, but Raw Egg Nationalist, who actually we need to do an interview because we were talking about it. If you can handle raw eggs, which I can, they sent me the shaker, and in the shaker, Dawn, hopefully you're still there listening, give me a thumbs up if you are. In the shaker, it has this thing. See the egg. Okay, so what I did, a couple raw eggs, some cream, some milk, and the collagen, and then some pumpkin spice. Shake it up. Oh, hey, Dawn. Shake it up, and a little stevia. So 2 eggs, cream, whole milk, collagen. Okay, pumpkin spice. Give it a shake. Instant eggnog. It was fantastic. Okay, actually, there's a little in there too. So, and that so good. And so that little spring, it kind of chops it all up for you. So thanks. I appreciate that. She says, I'll give it a try. That is my holiday native path advice. But yeah, I like it. And this, I'm so excited about this. I've been on the berry mix forever, so I'm looking forward to trying some new flavors. So thanks for joining us. All right, so here we go. My buddy, Not Lowe's. Not Lowe's, you're going to have to explain what that name means, because it's, and if I'm pronouncing it right, actually. So Not Lowe's says, who's Brian Thompson? Fair enough. I mean, it's a pretty common name. So he was the CEO of United Healthcare. He was gunned down on the 4th of December, and it was a professional hit. Okay. Now, there's a lot of pundits out there, a lot of experts who are like, oh, it wasn't professional because he didn't do this or this or this. Professional, just like the Olympics, means you got paid. That makes you a professional hitman. Doesn't mean you're good. Okay. I don't think it was an expert hit. I think it was an intermediate hit. But if you're a professional hitman, that means you get paid to kill people. That's all that means. It doesn't mean you're, Tom Cruise in Collateral. Okay. It means you're a professional hitman. That is your profession. Okay. Clearly this guy had no emotion doing this, and it looked like he'd done it before. And then Notlo says, by the way, welcome back, Notlos. You are such a loyal fan, and he's my main debate partner at this point, and he or she. Okay. And unfortunately the dude is considered a Robin Hood in the public eye. Yeah, this guy, just for the people thinking he's a Robin Hood, okay, the guy that did the shooting will shoot you for 10 to 20K. Just so we're clear. This guy's not a hero. This guy's not a crusader. This guy who did the shooting is a professional hitman. And he wasn't working alone. He had a surveillance team. We'll get into that. So he's not a Robin Hood. He's a paid killer. Plain and simple. Okay. And I don't think taking the life of anyone, especially at, I believe in overhauling the system or taking people out of their jobs, but to just kill someone, it doesn't change anything. The guy's not the CEO of United Health Group, which is the parent company. And he doesn't even make individual claims decisions. It's a corrupt industry. So unless you kill them all, which I'm not advocating, it's not going to change until you change the laws and make sure they're enforced. Okay, so for anyone who keeps voting for Republicans and or Democrats that allow Big Pharma and United Healthcare and all these companies to buy them, you're going to have this. You're going to have this. And the danger of this hit job is that they are going to blame people who are against the vaccine. I'll show you why. Oh, thank you. Zoltan backwards. I love it. But not Lowe's. Are you talking Zoltan like that guy in the carnival? Oh no, I know who Zoltan is. Okay, yes. Finally, okay, good, got it. So not Lowe's, I guess would be the pronunciation. Awesome. All right, so here's why. Let me see if I can pull up this video. And by the way, not Lowe's. I'm not jumping on you. I hear you. I've seen people saying that. Freaking Taylor Lorenz was like, how's that girl not in jail? Like, she's like advocating for people to, oh, this is great. It's not great, man. It's like, this is someone's dad. This is someone's son. This is a human being. Okay. Put him in jail, investigate him. But to have some guy who's hitting on the girl at the hostel a day before, who clearly has no soul. Okay. Has no soul. I mean, taking a human life, it's not an easy thing. And if you could do it so nonchalantly, there's something freaking wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Okay. It's not an easy thing. It's something that will affect you for the rest of your life. And just, for this guy to be so nonchalant about it. Yeah. If people want that to be their hero, then humankind's in a lot of trouble. So yeah, not Lowe's. I hear you, man. It's like people should not be cheering this on. Should not be cheering this on. Okay, so typical conversation between me and not Lowe's. I hear you. Debate for a different day. I wish I knew who you really were because I'd invite you on. We could just debate till the cows come home. Different issue altogether. Okay, different issue altogether. You could make the same argument about communism. Died on the altar of communism, or totalitarianism, or egalitarianism, or religion. I mean, we're talking about people cheering on an assassin. Okay, and that's the problem right now that I'm seeing. I don't want to go too far afield. You do this to me every time. Love you, buddy, but you do this to me every time. Take me down the down the debate path. We're living in a society where people are cheering on terrorists and assassins. That's a problem. We can't go there. I love investigating things because it forces people to look at the details and the granular nature of situations like this. That's why we're spending time on it. It's not glorious to murder people. There's nothing good about it. Nothing. If you've ever seen a dead body or killed someone, there's smells that you can never get out of your head. There's things. It's horrible. It's horrible, and it's just totally horrible. So I won't go too far down there. So not Lowe's, I'm not going to put up the last few comments. They're all good. They're fine. But we should debate sometime. Happy to debate you. And I mean debate like gentlemen or I don't know if are you a man or a woman? I'm not sure. I'm guessing. I'm guessing you're a dude because you have a beard in your avatar. Daniel Penny, I think he's totally innocent, by the way. Totally innocent. And that was not a child he killed, by the way. I'm not taking the bait, not Lowe's. We'll talk about this another time. But I respect you, love you, but I'm not taking the bait. I want to stay on point. Okay, I'm a dude. Just wanted to make sure. Because it's hard to tell. I don't know many green-skinned, white-bearded people. So anyways, respect what you're saying. These are important issues, but we'll have to talk about them another time. So anyways, God damn it, where were we? Okay, so yeah, on the shooting. God, you totally make me lose my train of thought. Give me a second. So there's a couple other things that I cannot put my finger on, and maybe you guys can jump in on this and give me some of your comments. And people who are on X, whatever, man, just jump in. I want everyone's comments on this. Okay, so I'm not replaying this video because I like it, but I will say this. Just there's a couple things here I want you to pay attention to. Okay. So for those that don't know, I knew this before the pundits were saying it. Suppressors are silencers. Silencers are suppressors. Suppressors are what professionals call them, or law enforcement. Silencers are what Hollywood calls them. They're suppressors. They suppress sound. They also slow down bullets. They also reduce the velocity, the muzzle velocity of the round. So, for instance, for those that don't know how the gun works, I'm in my war room, so there's always a gun around. Okay, so here is a typical automatic pistol. Okay. The way this works is like this. The magazine, or, this is not a clip, the magazine, okay, it is spring-loaded. Okay, so what happens is when this goes up in there, you pull this back to chamber a round, okay? You fire, okay? And that's it. Now what happens is as that bullet is leaving, there's a backblast. That forces this back, which allows the round to cycle. thus setting another round so you can fire again. Okay, now look what happens when there's no rounds in this. Okay, I fire, but it doesn't rechamber. I got to rechamber that myself. See the trigger? Fire again. Fire again. Terrible for my firing pin, but I'm trying to make an example here. So what he's doing is, with the suppressor on there, the round isn't powerful enough to do this. Normally when you're shooting, your thing is doing this until you're out of bullets. When you're out of bullets, it just hangs back. What's happening is it's doing this. It's going like maybe a little. It's not enough. So every time he has to reseat the round. Boom. Reseat the round. Boom. Just like now, I pull the trigger doesn't go back. Okay, so that's what he's doing. Now, what's interesting about this guy, you see the way I'm handling my firearm. Every time I'm not shooting it, my hand's off the trigger. It's up here. This is when I'm trained to do. This is what any decent gun owner does. Pull the trigger, hand goes up there. Finger goes up there. Rechamber, pull the trigger, finger goes up there. He does the same thing. Now, he's not surprised, obviously. He knew this would happen, but watch. Watch his finger. You see that? His finger is always out of the trigger guard. That's a guy that shoots a lot. That's a guy who's trained on gun safety. Okay, this is not some guy who just figured this out or played some Fortnite and figured he'd go shoot someone. All right, so there's that. He expected it. Rechambers, just like I showed you. Rechambers. Finger is off the trigger like instinct every time, just like mine. I shoot a lot. It's instinct. He's not nervous either. Not nervous at all. There was some idiot psychiatrist saying, oh, you see the way he wobbled at the end? That's because the rage had subsided. This guy is not angry. He knows where he's going, knows what he's doing, doesn't care. Okay, so like this does not look like a rage killing. A couple other things I want you to see in this video too. Watch the woman.
Good day, New York.
Okay, there's a woman right here. Hold on, let me get back to her. Right there. Boom. She sees it. Now, it could be coincidence, but I'm amazed she didn't she didn't drop her drink. She watches. Now, she doesn't seem to notice either he has a gun or maybe she's in shock. So Thompson walks by. She looks at Thompson. This guy shoots. She still doesn't react. Then she reacts, but she carries her coffee cup as she's running. Again, no one knows what they're going to do in that situation. But that caught my eye. So again, you have the SUV who steps on its brake lights right at the exact time that Brian Thompson steps into view. Then you have the woman who looks right at Brian Thompson. He gets shot. Then she kind of runs away, but doesn't drop her drink and run for her life. She runs and protects her drink while she's running. I don't think this is hyperbole. Watch. She looks at Brian Thompson. He gets shot. Okay, she runs, but she never drops her drink. And the gunman doesn't shoot her. Okay, so this shows me, yes, it's maybe not the best hitman, but like he's done this before. He knows there's no reason to kill her because eyewitnesses are usually unreliable, or she's the spotter. Okay, so again, here's the thing. Okay, and this goes into my entire what's really struck me about this. And I tweeted about this last night, and I was refusing to, but I had to. It takes a lot of intel and luck and timing and hours to know where someone's going to be at that time. This guy, according to all the footage we've seen, was able to be on site within 3 minutes, gets there, and then 3 minutes later, the target walks by, he takes him out. That's impossible unless you're working with a team. That is spotting. Now, we saw he's on the cell phone earlier at about, okay, so he's on the cell phone with someone early on. I think that was at 6:40. He's on the cell phone. And that to me is, hey, he's on his way. They probably had another guy down at the Marriott. So this should probably, hopefully they're looking into who was around the Marriott at that time, who said, hey, he's left 13 minutes. He'll be in your area. The team on the ground calls this guy and says, hey, he's going to be here. Where the hell are you? Why you stop at Starbucks? No one stops at Starbucks if you are within, if you know a guy is going to be in a certain place at 6 a.m. You're there at 5 minimum, maybe 4. Okay, it takes a while to set up, everything like that. Okay, this dude's sole job is to shoot. That's it. Okay, he doesn't do surveillance or anything. That means for him to be there within 3 minutes of this guy walking past an entrance, which, by the way, he didn't stop to go in, even though that's where he's supposedly going, Brian Thompson. This guy gets there within 3 minutes of Brian Thompson walking by the Hilton, not even walking into it. Takes a shot and he's gone. Okay, so there's a surveillance team on the ground at both locations. There would have been one at the Marriott say, hey, he's leaving. There had been another one at the Hilton say, hey, here he comes. Someone marks him. It's either the woman looking at him, smoking a cigarette, or the SUV, or both, stepping on the brake lights. Now, this isn't like spy stuff. This is like what PIs do. Okay, this is what PIs do. It's like, hey, I got intel that the couple is going to the Hilton at 6 a.m. They're going to be leaving, just hypothetically. This is how these conversations go. All right, so the wife called me and she said that she thinks her husband's at the Marriott because she got his credit card receipt. And it looks like he's at the Marriott. He got a nice big suite. But he has a speech at the Hilton, 13-minute walk. I would put a guy at the Marriott, probably in the lobby, just reading a paper, having a coffee, just sitting there, just whatever people do in hotel lobbies. I'd probably have a guy following him. Okay, that's called an eye. I'd have a guy on foot following him. Okay, in constant communication with the forward team, which is positioned at the Hilton. Okay, he'd be following him, and he'd be like, I'm the eye. And by the eye, I mean the guy that has eyes on, or the girl that has eyes on the target. So the eye isn't going to shoot him. The eye is there to keep track of him. You want that in New York City because people get away on you. Done a lot of surveillance there. He's in radio contact, not with the shooter. He's in radio contact with whoever the team leader is. The team leader is saying, okay, what do we got? Team leader is usually in the SUV. Team leader's like, okay, they just crossed, 54th or 53rd, heading your way, coming, eastbound, on foot, wearing a blue suit. Okay, and then the shooter's waiting there. And then even when the target is there, the shooter, he passes by the target, obviously. Brian passes by the shooter, obviously. But if you've ever done surveillance, you know that you can look at a million pictures of someone, but until you see them in person, it's a little weird. You don't really recognize them, okay? They're different in person. And so the mark to mark him, in my opinion, might be the brake lights. That's him. Might be the girl who looks right at Brian Thompson, blows out a big puff of cigarette, or she maybe is nobody. Maybe she's just there smoking. Okay, but they mark the target. The way we do this as PIs is we'd say, okay, so when my brake lights go on, that means he's passing right past my back bumper. So I'm watching, here comes my guy. Boom, that's him. My guys come out with the camera and they shoot. And really the only difference between these operations is what we're shooting. We're shooting footage, they're shooting bullets. It's the same thing. Surveillance is surveillance. But for that guy to be there within 3 minutes of Brian Thompson walking by is impossible, unless really lucky, without a surveillance team on the ground. Okay, without a surveillance team on the ground, a surveillance team at the Marriott, a surveillance team at the Hilton, and I walking behind Brian Thompson, which is really easy to do in New York because there's lots of people. But he was marked. Okay, he was marked. And he was marked by those people on the ground. Could be anyone. That's the thing. Could be anyone. Now, keep in mind, too, it may not be like a bunch of, like a team getting together and saying, hey, we're going to spot him, you're going to shoot him. Okay, the surveillance team typically or maybe contracted to just do surveillance. They don't know why they're doing surveillance. They don't really care. They're getting paid. Hey, we want to follow this guy. He's going to a meeting. We want to see who's meeting with. Surveillance team's like, great. And by the way, we're going to have this guy. He's going to shoot some video. He'll be walking right behind him. Surveillance team's like, great. Could be a local PI firm. I'd be looking into local PI firms if I were the New York Police Department. And then all of a sudden, a guy gets shot. It's like there's many, many surveillance jobs you get contracted to do. You do your best to do due diligence on clients, but a lot of times you don't really know people's motives. They'll say, oh, I'm surveilling. I need this person surveilled because they stole my horse. And then it turns out they need them surveilled because they're the competition or something like that. So you never really know. So the surveillance team could be totally unwitting, just thinking they're doing a typical surveillance job, very common in New York City. And then all of a sudden the guy gets shot, and now they're like, oh, we got to get that out of here. So I'd be looking into them. There's a couple other things, too, that I just want to point out, and then we'll call it a night. And again, as you've seen, I've made no theories. It's this, it's, just get the evidence, just put it together, put together the timeline. Professional, yes. Expert, who knows? But here's the thing. The guy's not wearing gloves on his phone. And when he shoots, that's another person talking about it. Okay, he never wears gloves. Now, you don't need to be a trained assassin to know that you wear gloves. Like if you've ever seen any movie about a hitman, you wear gloves. It's not rocket science. Here, no gloves. Like my 13-year-old has watched enough crime movies to know you wear gloves. This guy didn't wear gloves. What does that mean? Either he's really dumb or he's not worried about getting caught. I don't know the answer, but why wouldn't you wear gloves? Why would you show your face? He's not worried about getting caught. That can mean a number of things. I'm resisting the urge to say what I think it means. It can mean a number of things. Okay? But he's not wearing gloves when he's on the phone. He's not wearing gloves when he takes a shot. Now, granted, it's cold. I've shot. I don't shoot with gloves. I have gloves at the fingertips come down and everything. I like feeling the squeeze in the meaty part of my fingertip on the trigger. It's just how I shoot. But this guy doesn't even wear them on the cell phone. He leaves such a trail. And he takes a path, by the way, that if he's from New York or he knows New York, Central Park, all that, the path he took right down the center of the city is the most surveilled, most camera-laden path he could have taken. Like, for instance, he could have easily done this. Let me show you. God, did I close all my maps? That would suck. Let me see here. Okay, they're right. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, let me show you this. Okay, so if you go to Google Maps And again, we lived in the city a long time. It's just like I've done a lot of jobs in the city. I've been on foot in the city. I use all the bikes. I know the city really well. But Central Park, man, is like there's so many cameras in Central Park. So many cameras. Okay. And like if you want to, do a job and have less cameras, you would go over here. You'd go this way, and then you'd head up maybe, alongside the 9A highway, or you'd go to the east side, which is even less cameras. And you go up along the East River, probably around 71st Street. There's going to be way less cameras over here. I mean, he took a route right up, look at this, right up the middle of the city. And he went almost, from what they're saying, if he got out of Central Park here, my guess is that he went right back to the hostel, got his shit, and left. That's where his ride was, whatever. But the thing is, like, there's many other routes he could have taken to avoid cameras. Okay, so just saying. He could be, maybe it's his first job. Maybe it's his second job. It's definitely a job, though, because this guy didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate. He didn't care. And this is not a lone gunman who had a grudge. I will take that to the bank. Okay, I could be wrong, but I'll take that to the bank. This is not a lone gunman who had a grudge. It's just too calculated. You're not getting on target that way. And guys, just so you know, like I have sat on, like I once had to sit in a private section of an airport in Florida for 8 hours for the guy to come out. For 8 hours. One time, most surveillance, like the reason, so when I contract surveillance, I usually contract a minimum of 20 hours. We also have a 4-hour minimum. So if we go out, you're getting charged for 4 hours. The reason why, it's usually going to be 4 hours. We're not going to go out for 20 minutes and hope to catch someone. The odds of that are impossible. Think of the odds of that. What are the odds of, just try it. Like, let's say, just try it with your buddy. Your buddy travels, takes the bus, gets off the bus every day at 4:00 after his work, goes to his kid's soccer game. You might want to tell him you're doing this so he doesn't think you're a creepo. But try to time it where you give yourself a 3-minute window for your buddy who has a regular routine and gives you all the intel you need. Try to time it so you're there right when the bus gets there, and right when he gets out, and right when he walks his path. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. He could trip. He could miss the bus. So for this guy to be there 3 minutes ahead of time, that means there's someone with eyes on the target saying, he's here, he's moving, let's go, where are you? I'm here, I'm walking down here. That's why he's on the phone. He's reporting his location. Okay, he's not going to give them, they're not going to be able to track his location because he probably has a burner phone. Now, if the police have that burner phone, they know who this guy is. There's fingerprints on it. If there's not fingerprints, there's definitely DNA on it. Okay, so I don't know. There's just a lot they're not telling us, and that's fine. It's an ongoing investigation, but I wish it would tell us, hey, there's things we can't tell you, rather than say, oh, we don't know. All right, so, all right, let's keep going here. There's a couple more things I want to show you. So no gloves. Took just an odd path. That's not the path anymore. I've been moving the mouse around too much. But you guys got the idea. Sorry. Yeah, all right, I give up on that. Okay, we're just going to shut that. Okay, so there's that. So, hopefully I made the surveillance thing clear. It's just impossible to do something like this without, no one's that lucky. There was one time I got lucky. One time. I knew a mark was coming in from the West Coast. I knew he was landing in Syracuse. I knew when his plane would land. I was late. I was late getting there. Okay. Hit some traffic, didn't plan well. I'm trying to get from Hudson to Syracuse Airport. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch this guy getting off the plane. I'm already arriving half an hour late. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to park in short-term parking. I'm going to go into the concourse and see if I could spot the guy. Maybe he stopped to meet someone or have some food or something. But I'm already thinking I missed the guy. I got lucky. I pulled into the level I pulled into just happened to be where the guy had parked his car 4 cars away. And there he was. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I wasn't even ready to surveil him. So I took out my phone and I surveilled him. I'd show you the pictures, but let me pixelate the face first because he'll probably come after me. That's the only time in 30 years I'd been that lucky. And I was late. Like, I wasn't even there on time. So I've never seen that happen where someone's at the place at the right time, unless you've got a serious team of spotters backing you up. And he clearly did, in my opinion. Or he just got lucky. You got to leave the really far-fetched odds of that out there. So, okay, the other thing, and I'll wrap it up after this, but I do want to talk about this. Watch out for what the media is doing right now, because I'm noticing a trend. It does seem like they're trying to angle this a certain way. And let me call up that clip, which I had for you. Okay, yeah, this is it. So listen to this. You're going to love this. See if you can see the angle. So this is CNBC, go figure, owned by the Chinese Communist Party in a memorandum of cooperation with Xinhua Newsnet since 2015 or earlier. Okay, that aside. Listen to the angle here. Let me call this up on the screen. Share this tab instead. There we go. Okay, so the companies bolster security around executives following United Healthcare killing of the CEO. Just listen to the angle.
As tragic shooting comes as executive security has already become a bigger focus for major companies. In recent proxy statements, 20% of S&P 500 companies now list some kind of security benefit for chief executives, according to AlphaSense data. That's up from just over about 15% a decade ago. It's most common in the form of private jet use for CEOs. In healthcare, Cigna, Humana, and CVS disclose such benefits. United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty also receives private jet service. But in an environment where vaccines have become more controversial, according to proxy statements, in 2023, Moderna spent over $1 million on executive protection for CEO Stéphane Bancel, and Pfizer spent $800,000 to protect CEO Albert Bourla. Walgreens' proxy statement, which was issued just this Monday, disclosed home and personal security for CEO Tim Wentworth to protect Mr. Wentworth against possible security threats to him and his family members, according to the statement. And the company requires that he accept such personal security while he's CEO, adding that it believes the costs are necessary, quote, in light of the heightened risk environment in the retail pharmacy industry. For health insurers in particular these days, coverage denials has increasingly become a hot button issue, both on the regulatory front and personally for a number of patients, and that has prompted a lot of litigation. Back over to you.
Please.
Okay, sorry about that. So you see what she's saying there. She's saying, oh my gosh, there's this new call for executive protection, blah, 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 ever since 2023 because the vaccines are so controversial. Bullshit. Total bullshit. That is a bullshit statement. That lady should be fired. She's full of it. Okay, talking head or not, I don't care. I was doing executive protection going back to 2013, okay? And I was doing it for healthcare companies. Can't say which ones. Could be ones that you've just been watching for a week, okay? They all have executive protection at Brian Thompson's level. They all do. And not just because people don't get coverage, not just because people don't get, they are having vaccine injuries. They get protection because Kidnap for Ransom, or KFR, is one of the biggest businesses in the world. Okay, and when people, it's a whole business. So for instance, when you saw the Somali pirates, right, and they'd take hostages, The business is based on the insurance. The kidnappers know that they have insurance. They know they have insurance. They know the insurance will pay even before we started paying terrorists for hostages. Insurance companies will always pay because it's not U.S. based. Remember I talked at the beginning of the episode about the travel risk insurance? It's a big business. Every single executive that travels abroad or domestically, especially with open borders, they have travel risk insurance. Now, that travel risk insurance, sometimes you can buy it for 24 hours. And by the way, guys, anyone can buy travel risk insurance. And as an American, if you go overseas, if you're going to a country that's a bit dicey, I recommend it. But the kidnappers know, okay, if I kidnap this guy, this executive, I will get a payout between, $100,000, $500,000. They could get more, but travel risk insurance companies know that, they have negotiators, they negotiate them down. And even in remote areas, it's a very, very clean business. Normally people are not killed or even hurt. They're treated quite well. They're a commodity. Okay, so the way it works is you kidnap an executive like Brian Thompson. Okay, the kidnappers, if they know what they're doing, if they're pros, they will call the travel risk insurance company. That travel risk insurance company has a list of gangs, terrorist groups, groups that they are willing to do business with. If you're an unknown, you're not going to get shit. You better release them or they're going to send in a team. Okay, just like the Russell Crowe movie. That's a very real thing. That's a bit dramatic, but still. Or they'll pay the minimum. If it's a group they don't know or it's a new group, they'll say, we got your guy and we want $1 million, and the travel risk company will say, we'll give you 50 grand. Take it or leave it. They'll say, we're going to kill him. And they'll say, okay, fine, we'll give you 75. We're not going higher than that. Then what happens is if it's a remote area, cash is packed into like a fuel blivet and you drop it out of a helicopter. And then like in certain like areas in the Middle East, the tribal elder ensures that the money is, delivered and received. They get their cut, the group that gets their cut, and then the person's returned. It's a business. Okay, that's why they have travel risk insurance. And like I said earlier, they don't have a choice. These executives don't get to pick and choose. They don't get to say, oh, I don't want it. Okay, I've done executive protection for energy companies, for pharmaceutical companies, for healthcare companies. They don't have a choice. If they've got risk insurance on their executives, the insurance company decides who the security team is and who will have close executive protection. And look, as a guy who has watched, some senior defense executives, they're a pain in the ass. Like they will always try to ditch security. That could have happened here. Okay. They will say, like I had one guy, we're in England, pretty safe place. And I'm like, all right, so you going to bed now? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I said, okay. And then my day's over, but I'm not going to bed till he goes to bed. Okay. And then I'd always watch. I'd always wait in the car or have the driver, kind of linger in the parking lot. You always have a separate driver. And they'd call me and they'd say, dude, he just left. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I'm following this guy down a country road in England because he wanted to go to the pub without security. And they do that all the time. It's a pain in the butt. But, the senior people are used to it. They know they have security. They don't have a choice. So for her to say, oh, like companies are reacting. No. Nope. At that level, look, United Healthcare is like the 5th, I think, largest company in the country. They have executive protection. They probably had contracts with the same security companies forever. Just like Northrop Grumman does, just like Lockheed Martin does, just like Borla has had executive protection forever. And it's not because they're worried about disgruntled customers, although that's a worry. The biggest threat is kidnap for ransom, known as in the business as KFR. Okay. It's big business. That's why the main reason why they have travel or risk insurance, which requires close executive protection. So That lady doesn't know what she's talking about. Yeah, she's talking head, but still, don't be misled by that. They're trying to paint the picture that, see what happens when you say don't take the vaccine. This is the angle they're going for. Oh, those anti-vaxxers, they've now caused the death of a CEO, and now all these other CEOs are at risk because of them. It's bullshit. I think. Oh, let me take a comment here. So Marlene Popas, are you Greek too? That sounds like a Greek name. We had a Greek gentleman on here earlier. My son is Greek Orthodox, so Kalimera. I think that the executive was a fall guy. Maybe he was about to talk as a whistleblower, and now after is gone, the other companies will use this ploy to claim they are victims. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I do know there was an ongoing. I just found a filing from like December, where he had to talk about the stock thing. Now, how's that stock thing play into it? Well, the thing is, anytime you're in front of a hearing, if a question gets asked, it could reveal things about another case. Okay, so the fact that he might have to go to hearing could put the company at risk. I do want to state something too, that if you go to, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, but let me see here. If you've tried to go to United Healthcare's, there we go. All right, let me share this screen. So I noticed this right away. And so what happened is United Healthcare took down a lot of the profiles of their executives at about 228, somewhere between 213 and 230 on December 4th, based on my research of a Wayback Machine. The last recorded thing of the executive thing, their executive page was like 218, I think, on the 4th. But if you go here, United Healthcare Group, and then, let me see, our people, corporate governance, let me see, I forgot where it's at. No, it's over here. Sorry, I'm doing this on a whim, so. Okay, so board of directors. Sorry, guys, I should have that ready. Okay, let's just go back here. Diverse team. Join the team. Basically, what they did is they took. Let me just do this. Okay. All right, so this is when he was named Chief Executive Officer. Let's go back here to home. Let's try the search again. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. There we go. Okay. Leadership team. You know what? I'm not going to make you guys go through this with me. Basically, it's almost impossible right now to find the profiles of the executives. Here, I gotta hate when I do that. Let me see here. People and culture. And then pay equity, blah, blah, blah. Learn more about us. Let's go back here. How we do it. You do it with a lot of money. All right, so let's go to the board of directors. That's probably still up because it looks like a. Okay, so basically the point I'm trying to make, I just didn't bookmark the executive team for this, and I'm a little tired to look for it now. Let me just try executive team because it's going to bother me that I can't. There we go. Executive team. Now they just have the press releases. Essentially, they took down all the like C-suite or the, executive board. They took down all of their profiles right a few hours after 6 hours after the killing. I know where to look. Headshots. Yeah, they actually have headshots for the guys. So anyways, point is, you got to go to Wayback Machine to get Brian Thompson's bio from United Healthcare Group. Here's the thing is, Brian Thompson was actually in charge of government programs too. Not trying to send anyone into a spin there. I'm just letting you know that he was on there. So they did take down all of their executive profiles immediately. And look, that could just be a security thing. Like, they don't want people to know about their other ones. That would make sense to me. I always go with the Occam's razor answer. But they did take them down, and I did notice he was in charge of government programs. But to answer your question again, Marlene Puppas, yeah, I mean, look, you don't know what someone's going to say on the stand. You don't know the deals they're going to make with people. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lead to look at, but let's see where the facts and the evidence take us. My guess is that not even a theory, my guess is that if you wanted someone to not talk, you might make it look like an accident, not something so brazen. I want to point out again, too, that this guy stepped out into the light, okay? He stepped out into the light to shoot Brian Thompson. You saw the cameras. Anyone could see the cameras. If you're going to go kill someone, I'm sure you would at least look around for the cameras. He made sure he was on camera to shoot this guy, okay? He could have just shot him from behind the SUV easily. It was a closer shot. No, he waited till the guy was like 15 feet away and then took a shot in full view of the front entrance of the Hilton. Okay, so yeah, there's a message there. But I don't know what it is. It could be a message for everyone to shut the hell up. And, actually on that note, let me shut this. I can't share who sent this to me. I can't verify it either because it's hearsay, but let me just read to you what I got from a very good friend of mine who I trust that this person got this message. I can't verify the message. So, all right, so I got this morning from a source. I have a family member that works in a related company. My family member sat in on a call today, with Sir Andrew Whitty. The consensus is all employees need to keep their mouths shut. This is what United is telling their employees, according to this source. Keep their mouths shut. Their social media silent. It's pretty shady. Whitty and Hemsley and Thompson were the names on the lawsuit. The DOJ has been going hard after UHG, United Healthcare Group, going hard after UHG for years for antitrust violations, RICO violations, security violations, Medicare fraud, falsely inflating their value of the stock exchange, et cetera, et cetera. In today's call, that being December 6th, Rick Starbuck admitted that Thompson was called in the last minute to the Hilton Hotel. Brian Thompson, according to this source, that Brian Thompson was called at the last minute to the Hilton Hotel. He was just getting there when the assassination took place. And that Thompson, according to the source, took a private jet from Minnesota to New York. In my source's opinion, this guy was set up. Inside job is a speculation going around the employees. The narrative about being disgruntled policyholders, not getting coverage, and going rogue on the rich guys is total bullshit. This was an inside job. Thompson was probably going to strike a deal somehow or throw Hemsley under the bus. Hemsley is the key. He has a lot of power. So we'll have to look him up. Hemsley, I actually haven't looked him up since I got this message just because I've been running around. And oh, thank you. And then my source said, you're absolutely right, Brian, to be calling this the way you're calling it. This entire thing has creeped us out. We think it is going up pretty high, going high up. So that's one source. We're talking. I'm trying to get a hold of that family member who I will protect their identity, obviously, and relate it back to you just the way I did here. So who knows? Okay, we'll see. There's one other lead. And again, we're not following leads or doing evidence, but you want to explore possible suspects in case you see something in the evidence that feels like one of those suspects. There was a group, I believe out of Georgia, that had protested several times outside United Healthcare about these certain deny, defend, dispose type activities. And if you don't know what that is, those are the words supposedly written on the bullet, and or inscribed on the bullets. I'm not buying that. I would think that would be I think we'd see a picture of that by now. But anyways, that's another thing to get into. But yeah, these protest groups were protesting against United Healthcare Group. We do know that Brian Thompson supposedly received threats. We only know that from his estranged wife, who is apparently estranged. We can't prove that. There's no documentation of that. That is the word from several news sources, that they weren't happily married. They were actually estranged. It's another suspect lead. But again, I like to go target-centric and work my way out. I don't like to go leads and work my way in. So, yeah, but it's something to keep in mind. So, I mean, who knows? We got a young shooter. I'm putting that kid at about 25. But again, I mean, I've seen assassins in Africa as young as 7, so you just never know. But yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. Also, another thing I want to point out about that whole thing about the thing written on the bullets. This is about the size of the bullet that would have come out of that gun on a good day. This is probably even a little bigger. Okay, that's a 40 caliber round. I forgot the name of the gun that they said he was using. That's a 40 caliber round right there. Once it's shot, for those that don't know guns, that's going to be left over is that gold casing, vice the copper casing. Okay, so to put in perspective for you, this is where's a quarter when I need one? This is not that big. Let me show you. I actually took a picture of it today. And this is a point I'm making here. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I took this picture last night. This is just a hat box that happened to be around. So you get an idea. This is not very big. Okay, that's a quarter. That's the size of the casing. That's the round I just held up. 2 different brands around. That's why the color is different, but it's the same size. That's really small place to put your message. If your message is that this is done because these guys are evil, bad capitalists, you might, but you're probably not going to put it there. Probably just going to drop a sign on the guy after you shoot him. That dude would have had the wherewithal to write it on his forehead. I mean, that guy was not in a hurry. Why would you put your message here? Where it's very likely, if it's on there, it might get burned off in firing that round. If it's inscribed, you might see it, you might not see it. I would hope a good forensic team would see it. But the point is, you're not really going to get that loud message that deny, defend, depose would be conveying. If this is a hit of that nature, that would be almost like a terrorist type hit. Like terrorists do things to promote terror, to change a policy traditionally. If you're trying to get a point across, why would you put it on something that is roughly, the size of my thumb, nail. Why would you do that? Also, there's a chance those casings could have rolled into the gutter or rolled out of sight, not been found. It's just that whole thing about the deny, defend, depose. Yes, I can't prove it, but I also haven't seen any proof that that actually happened. It just seems like a curveball to me. So I'm saving that lead to run it till the end because it just seems too convenient. Plus, all of the legacy media is speaking with the same voice on that, and we've seen that before, right? So when the legacy media is really pushing a certain topic, it certainly gives me pause. Like, okay, why do they want us to think that? Could be anything. So we'll get to that. Let me just check my videos that I had bookmarked for you to make sure I covered everything. Okay. No, I think that's everything, guys. Okay, so that is it for now. We'll get into this more. So what did we cover today? We covered some headlines. We also covered the fact that we got a shooter that has no gloves on, exposes his face, took a bike. The pattern makes sense. He left at 5 a.m. He got to the location about 6:14. He's walking on his phone at 6:30, 6:44, 6:45. He takes a shot, books it back to the Starbucks, hops back on his bike, up through Central Park in 12 minutes. It should have taken him 22, but, the timeline could be wrong. And he knew exactly where Brian Thompson, who didn't seem to be going into the Hilton, would be. Okay? It's a professional hit. Not saying it's like the best hit, but it's a professional hit. The kid knew the gun would, it didn't jam, it just wasn't cycling the rounds. I say kid because I can say that now that I'm 50. So we covered all those things. But in my opinion, there's 1, 2, 3. There's a minimum of 3 people involved, 2 surveillance, 1 shooter. And there's also, you have to have the intel to know where this guy'd be staying. You'd have to know the intel to know that he wasn't staying at the Hilton. Because if he's staying at the Hilton for a conference at the Hilton, the shooter wouldn't be outside. He'd find a way inside, or he'd be waiting at nighttime for the guy to go out and get a drink or something. But he came at 6 a.m, which, by the way, in Midtown, it's mainly tourism. Most people aren't getting up and going around at 6 a.m. Okay, the conference, I believe, started at 7. So the timeline's right. He could have gotten the timeline from the marquee inside the Hilton, but thing is, the kid knew to be there, wasn't in a hurry, wasn't sitting outside for hours like they originally reported. One of the original reports said he'd been sitting out there for hours. He clearly had not been. And that's demonstrable. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Why does this matter? Because you should look into everything with this level of detail. And we're going to go into more detail, but everything with this level of detail. Even if your plumber tells you get a new heater, investigate it. If someone tells you something is safe and effective, investigate it. You may get nailed as or labeled as a conspiracy theorist, investigate it. Your doctor tells you this is the best thing for your child, investigate it and go through every single detail and collect everything on the doctor, the hospital. Do this for everything. This is why we're doing this. This is important. The method is important. And it's also important that we investigate this too, because there's a very real possibility that the powers that be are planning on blaming people who were anti-COVID vaccine. Okay, they're beating that drum. So it's important that we try to solve this case before they try to solve it with public opinion. And that's why we investigate everything, and that's why we're here. If you guys want to, well, let me take some of these before I give my final thoughts. I always try to think of something inspirational, but I'm just not the writer my wife is, but I do my best. Blue Wolf. Okay, let me say hi to my friends. And you're all my friends. Marlene, thanks for popping on. Blue Wolf 2000, good to see you as well. Good to see you. I don't know how much of this you caught, but the replay is on both Rumble channels, so definitely Rumble's at the bottom. Insider trading against an antitrust investigation. Well, like we said, Miss Lewis, and welcome, by the way. I like your avatar picture, by the way. I've been watching. I like that a lot. So maybe, but my the type of investigations I do, I just start. I call it target centric. So basically, what happened? What's the evidence? Let's get all that together. We went through the methodology at the beginning. Let's see where the evidence takes us. Definitely identify some leads so you know the flavor of those leads in case some of the evidence matches with that. I always warn against people saying, I think it's this, I'm going to investigate from that angle. Because trust me, you will find enough evidence to prove any theory you could come up with. Here's an example. Back in the war on terror, I was doing a job in a certain agency in the area of computer forensics. And this is after 9/11. And everyone's, we're all, hunkered down in our cubicles looking for the next terrorist target. All of a sudden, this balloon goes up, this alarm, this scuttlebutt around the agency. Oh my God, they're going to hit the Space Needle. So, like, literally, task force were formed, tons of money was spent, and all of a sudden, we're finding these Space Needles on all of these captured terrorist hard drives. Well, Space Needle is still there. There was no threat against the Space Needle. Every Microsoft system was embedded with images of the Space Needle because that's where Microsoft started. So even within the intelligence community, they were able to find enough confirmatory evidence to prove a theory. That's why I warn against theories. Okay, you can prove any theory you want. You could literally prove I'm from Mars and find enough evidence on the internet to prove I'm from Mars. Doesn't mean I'm from Mars, but there's just so much out there. It's dangerous to chase theories. I say, don't chase anything. Just let the evidence lead you. It might take you in a few directions, but follow those directions where the primary facts lead you. So that's just my opinion, but how you think about it is up to you. But welcome, and I'm glad you joined us. Okay, hey Brian, good to see you. Good to see you too, Sin O. Good to see you as well. Let me see. So Edward Dowd has been getting death-related data from insurance companies, but he never said which ones. Have you heard about Ed Dowd and his research on COVID death? I know Ed Dowd personally. I met him 2 years ago. I was at the Facebook rally with RFK Jr. out in Palo Alto. That's where I met Ed Dowd. I'm not a close friend because we're all busy, but I like Ed. He gets his information from all the like actuary reports, so the entire insurance industry. And Ed Dowd is definitely a good guy to follow. He's for real. Actually, when I met him, I was with my very good friend who's a very successful lawyer. And he's a bit like me, we're just kind of like, and he's down at the end of the table talking to my wife and everyone else, and me and my buddy are sitting here. And I said, let me ask you something, man. Is this guy for real? He's getting a lot of press. And my guy's really good at, like, he knows the insurance industry. So he listens, he goes, yeah, he's for real. So it's a good call. Ed Dowd's a great guy. Like Ed a lot. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the information from one insurance company or another one. It's from the insurance industry, and they have these industry reports that go out. And I think it's called like actuary reports. I'm not an insurance guy, but it's kind of like the same information you might get from like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good equivalent, but it's all the insurance data, like from the business side, pulled together to come up with numbers and everything. So that's where it gets. It's not from particular or individual insurance companies, if that helps. Okay, Dog Wonder says fascinating. What's fascinating, Dog Wonder, if you're a dog lover, and I could tell, and thank you, by the way, is my wife insists I take my dog outside more than I take myself outside. I just wasn't having it today. I didn't feel like going for a walk. I wanted to do this. So, if you're wondering what this thing behind me is, I took my high-powered, custom, jacked-up Traxxas 4-wheel drive RC car that does 55 miles an hour, can go through anything with incredible suspension. And I just ran that around the backyard, and that dog chased that thing for hours. It was great. I'll share some of that video when I shoot it. So I was really in awe and wonder at my own dog because he couldn't figure out that A, I was controlling this thing, and B, that thing was no threat to him. I was more worried about the car than the dog. So, but thanks for joining us, Dog Wonder. And it's fascinating. But if you do a methodology, if you do certain steps every time, the whole world opens up to you. I mean, one thing that I've always enjoyed about investigations is transparency. And transparency it's better than yoga, man. It's better than meditation. It's better than anything. And when I've had clients who, I've had clients in the past that the bad thing had already happened, but they just wanted to know it was this person. And I tell them, I'm like, why does it matter? It's over. The court case is over. They're like, I just need to know. And no matter what I found out, they were always in a better place when I found it out. They could find out that their uncle was Satan, but they were in a better place. And it's because the peace and power that transparency brings to the individual is why I do this job. And for me too. Something about transparency that's addictive, powerful, and is, I don't know, it's just something that really, really everyone should strive for in everything. I mean, transparency is everything. I'm not shedding light on, corruption and everything because it's the right thing to do, even though it's the right thing to do. I'm shedding light because I've been wronged or I can be wronged. And I know that transparency gives me the power to not be wronged or to defend myself and my family. So that's why I love investigations, because investigations are my way of getting transparency. And I think transparency is one of the greatest powers on earth that anyone can give as a gift to themselves. So that's why I'm fascinated by investigations. So, all right, Miss Lewis, apparently UHC used AI to set up a more company-favored outcome against consumer claims. Yeah, Miss Lewis, the insurance companies are pretty terrible practices from what I understand and what I've seen. I'll put it this way. I did competitive intelligence for a long time, so that's like companies spying on other companies. It's legal, amazingly, but it's a bit shady, and that's why I got out of it. I didn't realize what it was till I was deep in it. I'm like, nah, I can't keep doing this. But the two biggest industries I would hire competitive intelligence people were pharmaceuticals and healthcare companies every time. And they were ruthless in their practices. They're like, why can't you just do this? And we're like, because that's illegal and I'm not going to jail for you. I don't care how much you pay me. They didn't care. They just wanted the info. They're as bad as the drug cartels, healthcare and pharmaceutical companies. Dog Wonder, agree the words on casing sounds like a cover. Yeah, it just sounds like a curveball, Dog Wonder. Was said that it was a bolt action. It was not a bolt action. It was, you could see that there's no bolt. Is there even a bolt action pistol? I don't think I've heard of such a thing, but no, it wasn't a bolt action. Like I said earlier, I was doing this demonstration with my Glock where, don't worry, it's been cleared already. But basically, the bullet cycles, it fires, it pushes that back, opens up the access for the spring-loaded magazine to pop that next round up. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, now when you don't have the blast of a bullet pushing that whole action back, what happens is you shoot and see the trigger stays. Then I have to do that. Trigger stays. So what I was showing everyone earlier is the suppressor prevented and he could have had like a smaller grain round to reduce the sound. The suppressor basically, and maybe the lower grain round, didn't produce enough velocity, enough power to slide that back on that gun he was using. So what would happen is he knew, he's like, and he already knew, he's like, re-rack, shoot, re-rack, shoot. See, that's, and if you, like, there's something I use called iTarget Pro. And it's a laser, like, shooting thing where, like, you know, you could practice your trigger squeeze and sight picture. It's really annoying. I love it. It's great. But you do have to rack it every time you shoot. Rack it every time you shoot. And what I was saying earlier is that's what he's doing. He knew that when it cycled around properly, he'd practice, obviously. So he knew right away, boom, boom, click, boom, boom, boom. So he's cycling the round manually versus automatically. Okay, and the reason it's an automatic pistol is because it automatically, boom, it's shoving that back, automatically cycles the round. So, but good point. But not a bolt action. Okay, such a sad story. I'm still tired. I am tired all the time. But I'm hoping tonight's going to be a good sleep because, again, where'd they go? I got my new Native Path collagen for bedtime thing. And I'm pretty excited about that. It's one of our sponsors, getnativepath.com/dailyclout. But I am still tired too. Love your username. Such a sad story. A reminder that we could go at any time. Yeah, good point. Good point. Live every day to the fullest. You know, get it out there. We don't always do it, but we should. So definitely. Good point. Good point. You're a bit hard to keep up with as to timing, but I always catch a replay for sure. Best is always to catch you live. Being able to interact is great. You know, Blue Wolf, I'm aware of that, and I need to set a schedule. So I'm thinking I'm going to do probably 3 a week, and I'm probably going to do, I don't know, I'm thinking like the 7:30 seems to be a good hour to do, a 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's just hard with my schedule to really set a schedule, but I do, and I want people to know where to find me at a certain time. But yeah, you can always catch the replays at Rumble. You see scrolling down below. Please, by the way, even if you're on X, if you don't have a Rumble account, Rumble's not an evil, bad place that YouTube tried to paint it as. It's just another YouTube. It's just not censored. So if you would, go to Rumble and follow, write down that URL and follow, investigate everything on Daily Clout. I appreciate the audience, and that's all that does for me. But okay, look, I'll be honest. I'm trying to catch up with my wife's audience. I've got the second biggest audience on the show, and it's a bit of an ego thing between us. But I mean, you know, she's well known, so it's a hard act to follow. But I'd love to catch up with her at some point. But it also lets me get this information out to more people. The bigger the channel, the further the distribution. It lets me get it out to more people. So, and that's really the goal here. So, like I said, I want everyone to be investigating everything because it makes each of us a hard target. So even if we have, you know, people in government that don't fix the things we need fixed, at least the people in power know that, damn, every single American is really hard to fool because they look at everything. And that's my goal, is to help move that along and create more people looking under the hood. But yeah, I'll try to get a schedule out. Maybe I'll do, I was thinking like, I don't know what, Monday, Wednesday, Friday's tough. I was thinking maybe I'll do Tuesday, like Monday, Wednesday, and maybe a Saturday show or something like that, because Friday is a bit tough. I'm doing it Friday, or maybe I'll do Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. I'll let you know, Blue Wolf. By the way, I sent you a message on your YouTube, I think, or your Rumble, I forgot. But just, I think you had some questions for me, but go ahead and follow me on Twitter if you would, or you could just shoot me an email, and any one of you can shoot me leads, anything like that, to brian@dailyclout.io, or shoot me a DM on X, or subscribers can shoot me a message on Substack. And I am going to break this down. I'm actually going to do this one like the way I do professional reports. So it might take a while, but it's going to be a good one. So I'll let you know when that drops. All right, so a couple more comments, and I got to bounce. Bolt action. So Dog Wonder BNT station bolt action. That's, I mean, I'm not doubting you. I'm just like, when I think bolt action, I think like bolt action. I think it was a, let me see here. Now I got to know. All right, BNT. And you could be right. I shoot a lot. I'm not one of those people that knows guns. You know what I mean? All right, so let me see. Oh, wow, they got a website. Yes. All right. Okay, I got to share this. It looks like the gun, doesn't it? Is this the one there, Dog Wonder? So, yeah, I guess it's... All right, so calibers, barrel length, muzzle velocity, weight, stock type, details, tracing its roots back to the covert World War II well-rod pistol, as well as the more modernized contract VP9, the all-station 6.9 silence Project Caliber 9 harkens back to the famed Bride Hall weapons. Interesting history. Acquisition section, or SOE Station 6 and later Station 9, where the original concept was conceived. This updated integrally suppressed pistol features a new grip and updated magazines, yet maintains its nondescript appearance, whisper quiet sound signature, and unique rotating bolt operation. This model in 9, so it's a 9mm, so that's even smaller round. 9mm wears a 3-inch barrel. It finds its operational success as a magazine-fed it's a non-auto injecting. That's interesting. Single shot functioning in a rotational bolt action. So it doesn't automatically feed. That's really interesting. If I'm reading that right, it is beautifully enhanced with wipe suppressor, and a baffled suppressor is available option for those who prefer that design. So it comes standard with the suppressor. That's so, look at that. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's technically the bolt. I stand corrected. Okay. So I get it. So, okay. I'm glad you brought this up, Dog. And I stand corrected. I apologize. Never seen anything like this before. So basically you have to pull that. That's not a slide. It's an actual bolt. So it's a bolt. So you shoot. So people know it's kind of like the same concept as a bolt action rifle. So got a magazine, chamber the round, shoot, chamber the round, shoot. How about that? I've never in my life even heard. So Dog Wonder, I apologize if that came across as condescending. I've never even heard of a bolt action pistol in my life. How about that? Let's see the accessories while we're here. Wow. This is quite a company, man. Okay, so they got a whole line. I wonder, this is pretty unique stuff. And this, by the way, I just want to point, let's see really quickly what's the price on one of these bad boys? Let's see. Okay, feature products. This is so bizarre. Like, I didn't, I wasn't even looking at the gun yet. All right, let's see what we got here. This is so bizarre. Okay, so we're looking at the Station 6.9 buy now. Okay, I just want to see the price on this thing. What's the price, man? I think I might have to go to the dealer to find the price. Let's see what that says. Wow. Okay, guys, look. Thank you, Dog Wonder. This is a bit of a game changer, man. That's a 2,000 plus cost on this gun. That's a 2,000 plus cost on this gun. And I can tell you right now, I've been around guns a lot, and I've never heard of a bolt action. But I'm not a gun enthusiast. I just shoot them. I shoot them well. But That's a 2,100 plus priced gun. Like, wow, that is like my Glock is like $600, and it's a decent gun. I mean, my AR-15 wasn't $2,000. It's wow, this is something else. Well, I'm glad you brought this up, Dog Wonder. I'm not going to linger on this too much. This is a very specialized weapon. This should not be too hard to figure out who bought this thing, because it's not a very common gun. Professional hitman, yes, but I almost feel like someone wanted this person to get caught, or I don't. Yeah, it's okay. It's getting late, so I'm not gonna. All right, we'll get back. Dog Wonder, game changer. Appreciate it. Brian, I am certain you know the name Dr. Hotez. Did you catch him recently? Yes, I did. Dr. Hotez is a total D-bag. He's at Baylor College in Texas, Baylor College, which happened to receive more NIH funding than anyone. And yes, he was saying, oh my God, by January 21st, all these things are going to break out. Hotez is a piece of, don't even get me started. Maybe we'll do a deep dive in Hotez. Obviously, like everyone else, Hotez has blocked me long ago. Hotez also at Baylor, if you guys tune into Twitter Spaces, there's this guy named Ian something Copeland, and he runs these Twitter Spaces where they yell at anyone who's anti-vax. You know, it's just ridiculous. But he goes to Baylor too. But check out Baylor's funding from NIH. That's where Hotez is. Hotez is a freaking loser, man. The funniest thing I ever saw was when Hotez was on the Joe Rogan show. And Joe Rogan's like, hey, you know, you don't look that healthy. You're telling people about health. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I jog. Joe Rogan goes, you jog? It was just a great moment. Yeah, Hotez is definitely, don't even, man. Just like, yeah, just don't take me down that road. But maybe we'll do a whole special on him. Okay, so Blue Wolf. Yes, got the message. Thank you so much. I will be following up with EM over the weekend. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay. Dog Wonder, that's a huge lead. Like, honest, I'm kicking myself. I didn't even think to like look that much into the gun. I just figured it was a, regular. I saw what they were advertising, but this makes sense now. I mean, I thought it was just like someone got a gun and bought a suppressor, which you can buy them. It just, you got to get special permits and stuff, and it takes a while for that license for a suppressor to come in. So I just figured it was like slowing it down, but totally wrong. Everyone's got this wrong, actually, Dog Wonder. This is kind of newsworthy. It wasn't a suppressor. It's a gun that's built with a suppressor. That's a bolt action gun. So it's meant to be cycled manually. This is a huge thing. Dog Wonder, I will certainly be glad to credit you if I write this up or get this out. Just shoot me an email or shoot me a DM or shoot me a message on Rumble. How you want to be cited. If you care to be cited, I could cite you literally as Dog Wonder, or I can cite you as whatever you send me. But you can send me an email to brian@dailyclot.io. And, some people sometimes say, hey, just say @Dog Wonder on Rumble, whatever. But yeah, nice catch, Dog Wonder. Everyone, Dog Wonder, we salute you. That was a great catch. Huge. Blue Wolf 2000. There we go. So good to see you all. Guys, come back out, spread the word, get a bunch of people to follow. Don't forget, before I forget, we do have some sponsors. Don't forget Birch Gold. Love Birch Gold. You can see right down there at the bottom. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Sorry. This is what happens when you self-produce. All the shows or things that's popping up. That's not my life. I'm literally like 3 screens popping things up myself. Just me and a dog. Okay, so let me see here. So Blue Wolf says Dog Wonder gets a gold star tonight. For sure, Dog Wonder gets a gold star. Absolutely. Come here. Come on. Sorry, guys. This dog is... Oh. Okay. This is my Watson. Okay, so there you go, buddy. Oh, stop. Okay, so let me see. Where was I? Okay, there you go. You could go back down now. I just wanted to show you off to the crowd. Everyone, this is Loki. Oh, sorry, I showed his bits there. Didn't mean that. That's our Shih Tzu poodle. Love that dog. Okay, so let me see. Lost my train of thought again. Investigate everything. Yeah, thanks, Blue Wolf. I do. We all do. Actually, all you guys do too. You guys always come out here, so it's great. So great lead from, man, Dog Wonder. That's awesome. Such a good lead. Such a good lead. That's great. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Watch for more. Definitely. Oh, yeah, that's where I was. Birch Gold. I actually transferred my IRA to Birch Gold. They have other things you could put it in besides just gold. I like gold. Gold is great. Gold was $1,700 an ounce last year. It's 27 plus an ounce this year or thereabouts. It used to be just the hedge for your IRA. It's a good investment. I mean, what other stock do you know that went up 33% in 1 year? Pfizer did, and they also went down twice as much since my wife put out the Pfizer book, not crediting her totally, but her and the 3,000 volunteers called them out. Let me see here. So make sure you get your copy today. You could go dailyclout.io, edited by Naomi Wolf and Amy Kelly, but it's written by 3,000 awesome volunteers from the War Room. This thing's a textbook. It's not even been censored because it's just so. This is the goods, and the main source on this, primary source, Pfizer. This is their post-marketing report that they turned into the FDA and tried to hide from the American public for 75 years. So definitely get that copy today. Get it right here. dailyclout.io/Pfizer-papers/ get your copy today. Also, back to Birch Gold. Don't forget, you see right at the bottom there, text Daily Clout to 989898. China supposedly just found a huge gold mine, and I don't know if I believe it. I don't know how that would affect gold, but one thing I say about gold, just pull any chart, just type in gold stock chart or whatever, and just look for yourself. Every other stock kind of sucks, and that's why I like gold, because it's my whole life, it's always just gone up. I wish I just stuck in gold back in the early 90s and left it there. But I like Birch Gold. They explain things. When you text Daily Clout to 989898, you get this really good info kit that is more than just why you should buy gold. It's literally like a lesson in macro and microeconomics. I mean, it's amazing. Philip Patrick, he's on my show and all our shows a lot. He's a precious metals specialist over there at Birch Gold. Just the history of gold they teach you and how gold affects everything that's happening in the world, like, many other commodities, but gold especially. It's just amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's worth your time to get that free info kit, and they don't spam you. That's what I like too. Otherwise, I wouldn't be recommending it. 989898, text Daily Clout to 989898. Get your free info kit, and they'll call you right away. And if you don't want to talk, that's fine. But I recommend ask them, say, hey, bro, tell me about gold. You'll be blown away. It's amazing. And it's a great investment. It's a great company. They're actually top rated across all of the big Fortune magazines and everything. And you can actually you're actually buying gold. That's the cool part. They have a contract with Brink Security that, let's say one day you're like, I'm tired of not seeing my gold. I want my gold. They'll actually bring you your gold. I'm guessing the shipping cost will be a bit substantial. Gold's not light, but at least you're actually buying gold. You always have access. So one more time, Daily Clout 2989898. Get your free info kit, and let me know what you think when you get it. Would love to hear about it. Okay, and then, of course, man, how could I ever forget? My favorite is dailyclouthealth.com. That is our special URL for the wellness company. I love the wellness company. I know the wellness company. I know all their doctors, I know their CEO, I know their founder. I have all their products. I have doxycycline, all that I need for all the tick bites we get up here in New York. I even treated my dog with their first aid kit. He got into something, somehow cut his little paw. I love the wellness company. And what's nice about the wellness company, let's say you don't want to go to the doctor. They actually have telehealth now. They have pandemic preparedness kits. They have a lot of the anti-spike protein stuff. It's not quack science. Dr. Peter McCullough is one of their top doctors. He's one of the most cited and published peer-reviewed doctors in the world. So you just can't go wrong. I can't say enough about the wellness company. Oh, and I don't have them here, but I also take their buffalo pills, bison organs that they now sell. Check it out. Go to dailyclouthealth.com and use DailyClout for a 10% off discount. And, you can always just let them know, just say, hey, we found out about you guys from Daily Clout, Naomi Wolf and Brian O'Shea. Who knows? Maybe they'll send you a hat or something. I don't know, but we have a great relationship with them. We're actually personal friends with those people. We can't say enough about them, and we use their products. But we use all the products we sell, by the way, as you can see. So wellness company, go to dailyclouthealth.com and use promo code DailyClout to get 10% off. And then, they also have a Wellness Warrior program. So if you're a veteran, they have additional discounts for you. If you're a Hurricane Helene victim, I don't know if they're still offering, but they were offering free telehealth for Hurricane Helene victims. So spread the word. Great company. Can't say enough about them. And I think that, of course, how could I forget? I didn't bring it down. So I have I always save my favorite for the last. There they are. Heaven's Harvest. Heavensharvest.com. You cannot go wrong. /unrestricted. That's my old show's name. Heavensharvest.com /unrestricted. I actually made eggs the other day. I'm trying to see if yeah, I do. Check it out. So I have my little tactical bag here with a lot of tactical things in it, like trail cameras, and this is a practice knife. It's actually not. It's real metal, but it's blunted. And then what I always keep in the food pocket is one of my Heaven's Harvest pouches. So this is the one I haven't eaten yet. This is my freeze-dried diced chicken. You just add water. It's delicious. I am not going to open it up to show you it because my buddy JJ Carroll always makes fun of me saying that I've eaten all my emergency food, because I have. It's so good. And it wasn't. I'm going to have to restock it. I'll just put it that way. Ate all the beef crumble, ate all the eggs. Now I'm down to 1 pack of chicken, so I do need to get another bucket. Heaven's Harvest, if you're listening, and I'm doing a really good job promoting you because you deserve it, send me more. If not, I'll buy it. But heavensharvest.com /unrestricted. Check it out. Can't go wrong. It's good to have. I always keep a pouch of food in every vehicle, in every backpack, in every camera bag that I carry around. So you just can't go wrong. I love the food. It's just so good. What can I say? It's just so good. It's really good. It's kind of a problem because for emergency food to taste so good, it's hard to keep it around. Even my 13-year-old loves it, man. So they also have heirloom seeds, water purifiers. This is everything you need for a catastrophe, but it's also everything you should probably have, whether you're in a city, suburban area, rural area. We live in all three. It's good to be self-sustaining. It's good to grow your own stuff if you can. I've seen people in Brooklyn, they have tons of gardens hanging out of their windows. It's just good because just think of it this way. How much does poultry seasoning or rosemary and stuff cost? Herbs are expensive. It's $3.99 for the little, just learn to do that stuff yourself. Save the money and it tastes better. So anyways, that is Heaven's Harvest. I could go on all day about them, but go to heavensharvest.com /unrestricted and use the promo code unrestricted to get 10% or more off, depends on the product. And of course, please subscribe to my Substack if you would. They do have free subscriptions. Of course, when you do a paid subscription, which is very cheap, it does help me. The more I can raise money doing investigations for you, the less I have to do them for private clients. I can focus on things that matter to my fellow Americans rather than private clients, but private clients see me too. So until I'm doing, every little bit helps it, and it keeps the show free, and it keeps me on the air. So, if you can give, great. You can even give a prayer over there. So I like Give, Send, Go. They're great. I mean, Substack, you could do the paid subscription. Then also I do have a Give, Send, Go here. This one I know it's time to get there. I am. Okay, so I do have a Give, Send, Go if you don't want to subscribe on Substack or you just don't read a lot. If you don't read a lot, you're in luck because I don't write a lot, but I'm doing better. So not really selling that well, am I? But check it out, Substack, and then Give, Send, Go /investigate everything. Every little bit helps, but if you want to send me some warm wishes, that's fine too. I know it's tough times for everyone, myself included, but I'll keep doing these investigations no matter what. I'll find the time. As long as you'll join me here, that's all that matters to me. But if you can give, great, because it gives me more time to do deeper dives on things. All right, let me see. Make sure I covered everyone here. Oh, thank you. Where was Thompson Security? Okay, Dog Wonder. Okay, so good question. ALKM, where was Thompson Security? Great question. I'm glad you asked that. I'm writing it down. I can't cover it tonight because it's late. But where was his security? Because I'm pretty sure United Healthcare has an insurance company that demands that they have security there. He may have ditched them. Who knows? But where was his security? That's a great question. And it won't be lost. That will be part of something we look into. And by the way, anyone that looks into it, if you send me a well-sourced investigation on it, I will include it. I will feature it. You could publish it, and I will feature your publication as long as it's well-sourced. Okay. But that is the question of the hour. Where was security? I'm pretty sure their risk insurance would require them to have close executive protection for people at Brian's level. Good comment, ALKM. God bless Brian. Get some good rest, and greetings and best wishes to Mrs. Brian. That's so refreshing to hear, Blue Wolf 2000, because most people call me Mr. Wolf. So, I will tell Mrs. Brian you said that, definitely. Mrs. Brian is upstairs probably watching Fear Thy Neighbor right now. That's our getaway. Okay. Sorry, greetings. Oh, no, that's fine. Sino, thanks, Brian. Thank you. Appreciate it, Sino. Let me see. Give you the credit on the James Bond gun for reading the comments. Well, Dog Wonder, it's a team effort, man. That's all that matters. That's all that matters is that's a great lead, because I'll say not one person has said bolt action. So good catch. Roscoe. Hi, Brian. Hi, Roscoe. Good to see you. By the way, Roscoe, if you missed it, the replay will be on, let me get that banner back up. There we go. Yeah, here we go. And too many banners. There we go. Okay, so the replay's on. Investigate everything on Daily Clout. And yeah, so if you missed it, you know where to find it, and look forward to your comments. Good to see you again, Roscoe. And Roscoe says, wait, why would he have security? No one knows who that guy is. I'm confused. So Roscoe, that's like, one tier down from the top of United Healthcare Group. There's United Healthcare, and then he was United Healthcare Group, and then he was CEO of United Healthcare, the 5th largest company in America. So he's very high up, and I went into it earlier saying he would have security beyond just threats to his life. There's always the threat of KFR, which is kidnap for ransom. Okay. Kidnap for ransom, huge business. So, and I've done a lot of close protection since 2012. Usually it's the risk insurance company, or, the companies, or there's different levels of insurance. So believe it or not, United Healthcare has insurance providers. They're mainly like risk insurance for infrastructure people, that sort of thing. And their policies that protect many things will demand that they have executive protection for certain executives at a certain level. For instance, I had a client, big defense contractor, and everyone from the CEO, I think it was Wes Campbell at the time. Wow, there's a ton of coyotes outside. The insurance companies, to maintain their insurance, they have to have close protection. So that's why they'd have protection, to answer your question. And in the industry, everyone knows who Brian Thompson is. The public doesn't, but in that industry, yeah. I mean, United Healthcare is a mammoth. So, he would be required. I don't know. They're not my client now, but I can tell you at that level, it's pretty much mandatory. So, all right. Well, the dog's freaking out. Apparently the house is getting surrounded by real coyotes. I don't know if you could hear them. Shh. There's just a ton of coyotes outside. We're in the Hudson Valley right now. So, all right, guys, I am going to look into this gun some more. Thanks, Dog Wonder. If everyone missed it, Dog Wonder on Rumble. Check it out. Awesome. Oh, well, Roscoe, I'm going to let you rewatch the episode. I appreciate you being here, but that's what we've been talking about nonstop. So definitely rewatch the episode. If you go like halfway into the episode, you'll find we went through maps and everything like that. So I know he got killed. I'm, like I said to everyone earlier, I don't do theories and then try to prove the theory. I look at the evidence, see where it takes me, and we'll let the evidence and the facts and the timelines and good analysis show us what happened to him as best as we can. But definitely go back through the replay and I kind of lay it all out. But for now, I've got to go to bed. It's like 11 o'clock almost, and I got to eat some dinner too. So thank you all for joining us. And Roscoe will rewind. Yeah, definitely. And leave your comments on Rumble and make sure you're following it, but leave your comments on Rumble. If you would go to Rumble to watch it, because then you can comment. I only read on replays. I only read comments on Rumble just because it's too many sites to look at otherwise. So if you go to Rumble, you see it there at the bottom, get a free account, follow me. And I'm very interactive on Rumble, but that's the only channel I have time to be interactive on. So I appreciate that. Look, everyone, remember, we talked about it. Transparency is everything. That's why we investigate everything. That's why we're looking into this, and that's why you should look into every single thing that doesn't smell right, okay? Because that transparency is a superpower, and when you investigate everything constantly, it becomes second nature. Then people look at you and they're like, watch out for that guy or girl. And it protects you. So, and it feels good. It feels good to pierce the darkness on these things and to shed light on them. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of people trying to tell us what's going on. Not just the news, like even like influencers, even conservative influencers constantly telling you, here's what you need to know. You know what you need to know and you know how to find it. And if you don't know how to find it, let me and this group here help you get there. It's not that hard. It doesn't take talent. It takes persistence. That's what we're here for, because we are trying to pierce the veil on everything that can threaten us, threaten our families, threaten our country, threaten our way of life. And I appreciate all of you being here because you obviously have that hunger and that thirst for that transparency. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend if I don't see you again. And make sure you're investigating everything. And I look forward to your comments and see you again. I will definitely be on here Monday at 7, but I might be here this weekend. I will let you know ahead of time. Blue Wolf 2000, you especially. And you guys take care. Have a great night.